I was getting a little bit worried there because not a single person is telling us that we're running late in the comments. So that's good that people have got so used to us being incredibly impeccable. Talk about impeccable, fine lot with me, all well dressed. I think John wins second, and I'll take first for looking like your uncle at your wedding. Slap this together. This is what we want the FCAs. Look, collars out and everything. Tie's not even done properly. The FCAs that we won this year. So we thought, because obviously we've won a few things, well, one thing this year, why not dish out some more awards? Forget the official club accolades tonight. This is the very special annual Argyle Life Awards. We've been doing this for 3 years now. This is our fourth awards. Bloody hell, we've been doing this a long time. We're all getting old. Recipients of each award, much like every year, win absolutely nothing. So that's nice. I might stick a tweet out and people can interact with that. So as always, pour yourself a beverage. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And get yourself involved in the comments. Before the awards are announced, maybe we should do some AOB, some any other business. Let's start with the big one. John, I feel like I should come to you on this one. Tom Cleverley has been linked to Blackburn by Alan Nixon.
Yeah, which of course merits being taken very seriously. Yeah, it would be chickening out, wouldn't it, given their ownership? Yeah, look, I don't want to get too arrogant about these things or sort of never say never with them, because I absolutely ridiculed the idea that Shuey was going to Stoke when that rumour first circulated, while the man at the bottom right of your screen was furiously telling anyone who would listen what a great opportunity that was for a young up-and-coming manager. Obviously, I was right in the grand scheme of things. He was right in the immediate sense of it. I then became the most hated man in Stoke-on-Trent briefly, or at least in one of the 7 towns, for regulating a dispute with Sam in a way that sounded disrespectful to Stoke City Football Club, which of course I would never do. Yeah, so that, I don't want to say never. Obviously, it is closer to his family. There is a big gulf between Championship and League One football. All of that being said, they seem like a total basket case to me. And I think with Cleverley, it's going to be potentially famous last words to say it, but I get the impression the guy is quite sincere in the way he talks in the media. It's not to say that things can't change, but I've always felt, listening to him say, that he wants stability and the chance to sort of build a project somewhere. And also more recently saying that he's very grateful that he's had the chance to do it here, given, that he would have been sacked at any other club in the Football League, certainly including, the likes of Blackburn for the run of form we had earlier this season. I think it would be a huge risk, even if it would be technically a step up, to go to a side that finished, in terms of the Football League pyramid, not all that many places ahead of us, that have mercurial owners, to say the least. And, are not by any means guaranteed to survive, as the gap between the Championship and League One seems to sort of contract a little bit. I think Blackburn wouldn't be a surprise to see them in the playoffs of the Championship next season, but wouldn't be a surprise to see them struggle. They're that sort of team that seems to have a very wide range of outcomes. So it would be a huge risk, I think, for Cleverley to jump out of a secure job where he's building something under owners who he trusts and go there. Again, it is a bigger club than us, more money, closer to family, all those things could talk. The other side of it with Cleverley, and part of the reason I'm pretty confident that he won't be on the move this summer is, while he has done very well in the last few months and we're delighted with his progress, if you look at him in a kind of macro sense, we finished 8th in League One with probably a top 6 budget, maybe a 7th budget if you're, listening to Hallers and Burns' more recent comments on this. But it's still technically an underachievement. I mean, again, we discussed this at length last week and won't go over why we think he did better than that. But there's probably other targets if you're a Championship club that you're looking at. I mean, I know that Skabala has already been linked around to kind of mid-table Championship-sized clubs. No indication that he's going to go. But, it's that kind of level of achievement in the league below that probably gets you poached, absent some kind of other context. So yeah, I feel fairly confident he won't be at Blackburn next season, but never say never. And obviously we've had our fingers burned before, and it's a brutal game, so we'll see. But it would not be a career move that I would make if I were him, let's put it that way.
Adam, I'm just going to come to you.
By the way, Aaron, I think you were sort of fishing for a disrespectful comment about Blackburn. I think that they have actually won.
Yes.
I think they've won the Premier League, and I think that clubs that just hypothetically we've lost a manager to before and just hypothetically finished with 0 points in the Championship last year have never achieved anything equivalent in their history. So I'll probably let Blackburn off being treated in the same scathing manner as those two for now.
Have Sheffield Wednesday not won the old Division 1? I feel they may have at some point.
I wasn't born, so I don't care.
Football, neither were most of the Porters, to be fair.
Football, much like my life, started in 1992, Sam, I think, is you know.
Adam, I'm going to come to you on this, two things, because firstly, Zach Brown has said that you look like you've been on the sunbed. In fact, the opposite, you've been in Austria. We need a Eurovision. Your season started. Your season finished as our season started in Austria. So we need a Eurovision rundown. But also, whilst we're talking about Tom Cleverley and Blackburn, John has already mentioned that it's closer to family. I hear Blackburn is a very good place to celebrate with your family, isn't it?
Goodness. Well, that's quite something, isn't it? I'm going to swear off that and go straight to the Eurovision, if you don't mind.
What crack on?
No, I think right. So, what most people understand Eurovision to be is the Saturday night, which is for 90% what they all view. What most people are coming to realise is the semi-finals take place on the Tuesday and the Thursday of the week. So you can go and attend them if you like and crack on to 3 shows. What very few people realise is that actually the jury shows for them, the points you get for those, are done the night before, and you can pop along to those as well. So I've ended up going to the same place 6 nights in a row just for some excellent entertainment and very much got my money's worth. And yeah, I on the way I was thinking, well, I hear Sophia's quite cheap at this time of year, so who knows what might happen next time. But yeah, I might take a little bit of saving, and I think at some point this year we're going to have the find out phase of my May 2026, and as I turn down further opportunities. But yeah, it means that I can join the what do we call it? The rare pool of an honoured few who can join this podcast live from Austria, and yeah, it's so far so good. 7.5 minutes in.
Correction, you're the only one coming live. We did ours pre-recorded and then put it up.
Oh, of course you did. Yes, there's only one live. So I've now ticked off the only one live from Austria and Dortmund. I mean, yeah, I feel like other exotic locations are available and indeed exotic.
Live from a foreign country, and me and Aaron were, I think, live from Marbella, weren't we? 2 years.
Talking of Marbella, Sam, you've sidetracked perfectly onto the next talking point, any other business. Firstly, Daniel Stutteridge, he was very good for Chelsea and Liverpool, has asked, what drink have you got? Is it Moldovan Coke?
No, it is regular English cherry Coke float.
Oh, English. That's very Brexit.
Well, up in a shop in England anyway. American originally, I guess, Coca-Cola, but it picked up in an English shop.
Talking about going abroad, pre-season is in Spain again, but this time there's no fixture, there's no Europa Point, there's no Hearts, there's no who did we even play in Spain? Orlando Pirates, of course.
Yes.
There's no fixture. That's a disappointment. Well, it's not. It's great for me. Perfect timing with the child on the way.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think I probably cannot possibly justify going without a game. I mean, it kind of appears to be a bit of a, shall we say, diminishing returns in the sense of the fan experience at these things. I mean, 2024, there was a game, an open training session, and a meet and greet event. 2025, there was only a game and an open training session, but not a meet or greet event. And this year, it seems then potentially none of the above. They might arrange a game late on. Who knows? But I think it's essentially just going to be a warm weather training camp. Is that they're going to look, which is fine. I think with Tom Cleverley, I think very clearly the focus for him is detail oriented, rather than the kind of engagement side of it. Even in the training session in Austria, I'm sure Tom Cleverley won't mind me saying there was a 15-minute spell where we were sort of asked to step outside and sort of linger in the car park because they were going over tactical work for the friendly against Braunschweig.
Which was really, really difficult for my new job at Southampton. I had to get on the phone to my colleagues there, and
we had no long lens cameras that were being used at that time.
It wasn't a long lens, Sam. It was an iPhone.
Well, yeah, it was an iPhone on one of the incidents, but I think there's some suggestion there was some sound recording technology, more long range sound recording technology as well. So who knows? It'll all emerge in the FA hearing on Tuesday. But anyway, back to the point. I think with Tom Cleverley, he was a bit more sort of orientated around the detail of this is what's happening for the team. Obviously, he was very, very nice, very, very amicable, but he's very much more orientated around, right, this is what's happening for the team. This is what I think gives the team the best chance. And the kind of fan engagement side of it maybe is a little bit secondary, look, which is absolutely
I'm pretty sure that 15 minutes, Sam, was actually Luca Ashby-Hammond's finishing training.
Yeah, very good.
Might be the bottom corner. But we'll get on to that. Sorry, carry on.
Will. And but I think from that, I maybe got the sense that if he was planning it from the offset, there maybe wouldn't have been quite as much in terms of the fan engagement side, even as there was. So I think it will just be a warm weather training camp, maybe a kind of behind closed doors or unannounced game. Even if, I guess, if they announce it 2 days before, it would kind of be de facto behind closed doors for Argyle fans, because I think only the most committed, rich and time-rich fans would fly out at short notice. But I think the long and short of it is this is a players' camp rather than a fans go and have a jolly kind of camp, which is absolutely fair enough. And it
is a bit of a shame though, right? Because obviously, like the Hearts game, there were loads of people there, and it was like great. And then the year after sort of suffered with being alongside the Euros, so people were at the Euros instead of coming with us. And then last year was just a bit like we were kind of in the way, weren't we?
Isn't it only 5 days though? So isn't it?
No, I get that, but like we don't get to go abroad very often, right? Following Argyle, we might get the occasional trip to Wales.
Yeah.
But like just that pre-season is quite fun.
I agree. And look, it's something I've done twice. If I ever do it, if they ever maybe bring it back again a bit more the way it used to be, I would certainly consider going again. But it's I will not be attending this year, I don't think, unless they announce, a game and or an open training session and or some kind of, meet event like they had in 2024. And it would kind of have to be like probably at least 2 out of the 3, really, one of those 2 being a game. Because going for just a training session or just a meet and greet event would be, again, probably not really justifiable. So
a hike.
Yeah, maybe a hike. It would have to be 2 out of that 3 and probably one of the 2 being a game for me to even consider going. So I think we'll just let the players get on with it, and we will not be taking any flags abroad with us this year. More on that later.
It's a shame that my Spain Rooney one wasn't ready when we went last time, and which to be fair, I still need to actually get printed, and I still might.
Aaron, can I just comment on Alan Nixon? Because it was the same Alan Nixon that said Andrew Parkinson was going to Blackburn, if you remember.
Interesting.
So why did the mark? I think
where is Parkinson these days? Is he rocked up anywhere yet?
No.
Oh. I'm actually surprised about that.
He's working from home.
Oh.
I'm not as surprised about that, given the state of Argyle's finances when he was the chief executive. But
Sam, less of that. His granddad played for Liverpool or something. Less of that. Anyway, moving on. What else? Is there any other AOB? Graham, Harding and Owen Dale released. Would you take both of those back? We started discussions with Dale literally a minute after he was released, and not a second before, obviously. Would you take either or both back?
Yep. I mean, Tom Cleverley made it clear that he would take both back. I mean, in priority, I think, was Harding for me as a utility player across the back 4 would be my preference. But Owen Dale endeared himself to the fans by his 100% effort. If not, I think he only got 1 goal, didn't he? So but he would be a good squad player for sure. I'm not sure he's a starter every week.
Fair enough. Anybody got anything to add on Wes Harding or Owen Dale?
Very much agree with that. I think I would be absolutely, again, as with Graham, no disrespect to Dale, more so Harding than Dale, but I think my general view is I'd absolutely be content with seeing both of them as part of a 25-man squad. Not sure I'd necessarily want either of them in my best team, although Harding at centre-back maybe could be if if Ross were to go and Mitchell would have not come back. Harding at centre-back could be, but yeah, I think as squad/utility players, especially Harding, I'd be happy to see. Owen Dale, I'd be a little bit warier, just on the all the stuff is well trodden, the end product side. But As a second choice left midfielder in a 4-4-2, you probably wouldn't get many better as a second choice, but I would probably want to see us recruiting a new first choice if that were to happen.
Yeah, completely agree. And also, I feel like Wes Harding playing his natural position would have helped. Bless him.
I
think we should. Sorry.
There's one comment. Joe Edwards not signed yet. Any thoughts?
It's interesting. I feel like had the club maybe. Obviously, I don't know. I've never pretended to be in the know. I do not know. But I feel like
you never pretended to be in the know. You've just been in the know.
Previously, not anymore.
Not anymore.
He's long since left, and luckily there's been a lot of redundancy, so nobody will ever work it out. I said too much. Anyway,
you have already.
Yeah, if we gave Edwards what he would have wanted, we'd have seen I'm not effing leaving speech by now. And that is a shame.
It's constructive that when the fans were singing the one more year Joe Edwards and then gradually building the years up and up at Northampton, he did. Many people reported he did a 2 sign, which maybe I think at the time people took to mean he'd agreed a 2-year contract, but perhaps now could be seen as like a coded message of I want a 2-year contract and the club aren't giving me one. Graham's nodding. That's always a sign of on when Graham's nodding. So that's what it will be.
I'm totally making this up here, so I want to stress this is not based on any intel at all. I might be completely wide of the mark. Something about this to me for quite a few weeks has smelt of like this isn't going to happen, but like both sides don't want to be the ones to take the blame in the eyes of the supporters, and so it's in a kind of standoff situation rather than the club just saying, "Yeah, we're not giving you a better deal than this. Sorry, it's been amazing, but time for a new era."
Well,
saying I'm not taking it,
In the case of primary school rhyme, John, whoever smelt it, dealt it. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough about Joe Edwards. Should we get on with the... Oh, there's one other piece of any other business. Yesterday, Tom Harris, who has occasionally been on this pod and maybe on the pod a lot more next season, more to come, and was meant to be Sam Down, but Sam Down pulled out because of work commitments. Apparently that's really important. Played in a charity game. You may have seen the kit that we launched online, obviously an Argyle pattern, Argyle fans, for in memory of Daniel Willis. We played yesterday at Crowndale in Tavistock. We lost, unfortunately, but we were playing against a team of players who play for like Tavistock and Parkway and Ivy Bridge and stuff. So, losing 5-3 isn't that bad, I suppose. I made a centre midfield cameo again, like I did last year. Only the second time I played a centre mid. Absolutely stank up the gaff. But big thanks to Mezzala Sportswear, who are going to be a sponsor of the pod as of next season. And also to everybody who turned up. I know there's a few people that watched the pod that came and watched me drop a stinker, so that was great. And like I said on Twitter, it would have been great if Sam actually played, because I've no doubt that he would have smashed one top bins from 40 yards out, which would have been a joy to see. And maybe next year, hey Sam, maybe next year. But raised, I think it was like 600 quid yesterday, which isn't bad for a bunch of fat lads playing football. But yeah, if I might drop the fundraiser, if anybody wants to drop a £5 in, that'd be great. But yes, more next year. Hopefully, Sam and John and Adam and Joe Bell. That'd be great. I'd love to see Joe play. That'd be great. Yeah, that's the only other business really. Let's move on to the awards. Moving on to, we always start with home game of the year. Obviously, we've been incredible on the road this year. Not as much at home. Obviously picked up in 2026. But let's move on to home game of the year. Let's go clockwise for this one. John, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, and I think mine's probably the one that's chronologically
Sorry,
first.
John. Really quickly, just so the viewers are aware. Obviously, this is our 3rd, 4th year of doing it, whatever. What we'll do is we'll all nominate one each, and then we'll chat amongst ourselves. And then we'll decide who wins the overall award. Sorry, John, carry on.
Yeah, I think this is chronologically going to be the first one mentioned as well, so a good place to start. I sort of wanted to nominate one that I had personally been to, and I think I actually only went to maybe 5 or 6 home games last season, of which, that's a thing. Of which, there we go, maybe 6 or 7. It wasn't 6 or 7; it was closer to 5, maybe even 4. But yes, the only wins I saw were against QPR, which was a good game, but in the Carabao Cup, Doncaster, which was not a vintage performance in the second half of the season, and then this game, which was Blackpool at home, which was our first win of the season, and I thought it was worth nominating just because obviously the club was at a very low ebb. We'd had those 4 defeats in a row in the league, which was incredibly miserable. And so, it felt like obviously very important to get that first win. And it was a fairly good performance as well against a team that, like us, had, actually probably spent more money than we did over the summer. They were quite fancy to go up, but had also had a poor start under Steve Bruce, who was still their manager, which feels like a very long time ago. There was obviously the Dale Taylor aspect of it all after he nearly signed for us and then did sign for them. Laurent Talai made his debut and missed an absolute sitter. And we won the game with an excellent goal from Malachi Boateng cutting in on his right foot and bending it into the corner of the net. Huge relief to get the win. Obviously, it was a beautiful, sunny bank holiday weekend as well. It sort of felt like us fully arriving back in League One after that incredibly false start that we had. I think it was also somebody's birthday. I know what else was important about the game. It was also the day we launched my favourite ever Argyle kit, which I purchased after doing Park Run in Central Park, and then wore to the game. And I love it. I'm not wearing it now because I changed out of the pink one into this because it has the collar for the bow tie. But the pink one, amazing kit.
Yeah. I will just add to that.
That was cult, Aaron said. That was the word that came out.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I did say cult. Parkrun is a cult of which I am a member.
Well, you're not, are you? Because it doesn't have members. But
no, true.
You're a member of a similar sounding club.
Yes. No, I second everything John says. Blackpool at home in the sun. It was a very good day. Normally, I go into birthday games. It was my birthday, if anybody cares. And just genuinely, I'm only nominating this game along with John because it was like the best birthday of my life. Everything went well. We had a very, very, very good night out on Pop World afterwards, didn't we, Sam?
Your birthday, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with John, but that's the first nomination. Adam Price, I assume you have the one that everybody is talking about in the comments.
I do, as it happens. As much as the Blackpool day as an experience was wonderful, the game of Cardiff City at home was just, for a fixture, all you can really ask for. They were actually top of the league at the time. I know they finished in quite a distant second in the end to Lincoln, but came to Home Park top of the league, and we were on a decent enough run, although hadn't really hit the ground running at home at this stage. A lot of our good form at this stage was away, and there was it almost felt like a bit of an acid test for us. It was Talai and Peppel up front for one of the only occasions, which felt particularly exciting, and maybe it was a case of if we were to win this game, we were going to have to outscore them in terms of everyone going forward rather than it being a solid defensive effort that would win it. And we did, and then some. To beat the team that start the day top of the league is always positive. To beat them 5-2 is particularly remarkable, and with a performance that fully deserved it. And I'd suggest actually it was that game more than anything else that gave us all an idea and an impression of just how far this group of players could go. I think we had a few, I don't want to call them false storms, but there was the win at Burton, there was the win at Doncaster just before Christmas, where we'd seen really good signs of what a Tom Cleverley team can look like, but not necessarily an idea of this is what it can do on a weekly basis, that it can outplay the best teams in this league. And the Cardiff game, we absolutely did that, and then some. 5-2 is absolutely a reasonable scoreline. Some terrific goals in the game as well. I think Talai opening the scoring with an effort outside the box. There was a fantastic team move for the second goal. And to be fair, even their second goal was a very good finish into the top corner that kept things interesting into the second half. And I just think that game suggests as much as it didn't, I won't say it didn't matter, as much as it didn't impact how we finished the season, i.e. we were outside the playoffs then and we finished outside the playoffs, I think it provides a blueprint for the rest of the season and also how we can go into next year. If we can play like that against a team that, as much as they didn't win the league, actually fairly easily went up out of the league, we can have the impression that we can take any team on our day at Home Park. And that very much was our day at Home Park. And it just gave us faith and gives us faith at this point that if we can keep this team relatively together with a few smart additions, then yeah, we can go into the season with a lot of confidence. And I don't think any other game gave me that impression quite like the Cardiff one, because that's what a good team at this level looks like, and we destroyed them.
The two already mentioned, the Blackpool home game and the Cardiff home game, Sam, are the ones that make you renew your season ticket, aren't they? So what have you gone for?
In the wrong place.
Yes. Well, yeah. Echo everything the previous two have said. That Cardiff was the epitome of how the fast press system was at its absolute peak, demolishing one of the best teams in the league. But I'm going for Port Vale home on the final day of the season. It was the day that we kind of just pulled it back out of nowhere after Bradford.
Wasn't the final day of the season.
Final home game of the season.
Final home game.
Facts check the second time this weekend, Samuel. Carry on.
I misspoke. Thank you, Aaron. Final home game of the season. Obviously, we've gone into it 4 points off with 2 games to go. We've got a bit of a glimmer of hope when Stevenage drew in the early kickoff. I think Stevenage, having drawn that game in the early kickoff, really roused the mood, because if they'd have won, we'd have been all but out of it. Yes, technically Bradford, were playing at the same time as us, but we'd have been all but out of it had Stevenage won that game. And I think the fact they drew, we were very loud from the offset. And I think what that game, again, really a positive thing I would like to say about that game is it showed our response to adversity. Obviously, Connor Hazard made a terrible error, got sent off, completely misjudged the flight of the ball. And it's one of, for me, the best example of where Tom Cleverley made an in-game change that really had a positive impact. And I think with Tom Cleverley, as much as obviously he's had some great attributes of player development with coaching his team style, maybe the thing that people are questioning a little bit of does he make the sub after the setback that turns the game back in our favour, like Schumacher did so well? Does he make the sub after the change? And that was the case. He absolutely made the right sub after the setback. He took off Caleb Watts. No offence, Caleb, but he kept the 2 strikers on. And I think if we'd have just gone deep and retreated and sat on the 1-0 lead all game, we wouldn't have won that, and we wouldn't have had the attacking players on the field to wrestle back control. As it is, we gave a really good fist of it with 10 men. We limited Port Vale to not that many chances, and we had a few chances of our own, and Bim Peppel scored the second goal, and it was really encouraging me how we were on the front foot. Obviously, the scenes at the end were really heartwarming. I'm not going to mention them too much, because I know Graham has them as his moment of the year in a later category. I'm sorry for the spoiler there, but they were great scenes at the end, and who knows, if a certain consortium goes on to buy the club, that, them witnessing those scenes at Home Park, it could be looked at as a rather pivotal game in the club's history, that Port Vale win.
Blimey, Sam, you stopped.
Yeah, no, that was me. That was my nomination.
Oh,
Jesus. God,
Port
podcast
Vale.
moment of the year. So now stopping his monologue.
in mid-flow.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Robert not ending, but yeah, my nomination is, to summarise, my nomination is Port Vale home, final home game of the season that showcased the best of Home Park. There we go.
And as Richard Sloman says, the home game in which we were bought by Netflix, although we were supposed to be on Netflix last year, I'm sure. Graham,
Yeah,
you had to change yours, didn't you? Sorry.
I did, because I wasn't told that we couldn't select the same one. So, but anyway,
Change that.
an honourable second place, I would say, Huddersfield at home, 3-1, because that was the game that moved us to 7th place and 1 point outside of the playoffs. And I think it was the game that most fans thought, oh, actually, this is on. And we did
I
without...
remember going into that game because obviously we didn't have Herbie Kane, right? And we were like...
Or Lauren Talai, yeah. Talai,
yeah, we're going to struggle here. And then,
yeah. And then we went 1-0 down to that. I think Humphreys sort of dribbled past half the Argyle defence and slotted it in. And then we had Owen Dale scoring his first and only goal after a massive scramble in the penalty area where we thought he'd gone over the line, it didn't. And he whacked it in.
Only goal so far, Graham.
Sorry?
Far. Only goal
Only
so
goes
far.
so far. Yeah. Well, now he's been seen in Plymouth today, then maybe there'll be more to come. And then Senny got pulled down in the area, which is a bit of as should we say, VAR might not have given it. I don't know on ref review, but Bim scored from the spot, and then Sony swept him, and the keeper fumbled it. But I think it was coming out of that game, we played well, and I thought game on. I really thought we were going to make the playoffs because I think Stevenage and Stockport were a point ahead, but with a worst goal difference with 7 games to go. And it really was game on, but wasn't to be in the end. But it was the game for me that made me think we can do it.
Yeah, as I said before, Huddersfield was the game that turned me from thinking we can do this into I think we actually will do this.
Mm.
And that lasted 13 days until the Bolton game.
Collectively, then I assume we're all agreeing. As much as I want to say Blackpool at home, and that was my initial nomination, I think we're all agreeing on the 5-2 demolition of Cardiff.
That was an incredible moment, incredible day, and in my view, the best all-round performance by an Argyle team since the Norwich 6-2, and possibly even quite close to that.
God, who would go there? Brilliant. Yeah, okay. I assume no objection.
Nope.
Order. Cardiff at home 5-2 wins. Away game. Let's go backwards. Graham. Away game this season.
Again,
there's quite a few this season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my original choice has been taken by somebody else, but on reflection, it actually was the Burton away game because it was the first time we won 4-0 away. I think it was it Fleetwood 2014, Sam? Something like that. That was.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so.
We beat
Peterborough. Without cornered Sam's corner.
Oh,
yeah.
In the league, I think, in the league.
League
I
Cup.
don't think that was specified. Was that specified?
No, in the league. I did say in the league.
That was a very expensive night. One person watching.
Yeah, but
anyway.
But I think it was the performance. We actually played 3-5-2 that day, and it was the first time I think we properly played 2 up front, which was the forerunner maybe of sticking with 2 up front later in the season. And I think we got a bit lucky with a couple of moments before Aseni, Tulai scored first, and then Aseni just before half time. But second half, and they were kicking towards us in the away end, it could have been 5, 6, 7. I've never seen such a dominant away display, and that was the first of several to come. But that was my away game moment, apart from one other, which is going to get mentioned.
Yeah, going backwards, Sam. Tom Cleverley not on the touchline for that demolition of Burton. He wasn't on the touchline for yours either, was he?
Doncaster away, I think he was on the touchline for Doncaster away. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. You're the facts man. You know these things. Go on. Carry on.
So yes, my nomination is Doncaster away. It was a game that I was most looking forward to, and I'm going to indulge a little bit by talking about my my good friends on the Banana Bus, who I go to every away game with, pretty much, barring Bradford, which a certain man in the top left of the screen drove me to and from. Doncaster away was one we had penciled as being quite a big heavy drinking day, because Doncaster has this amazing pub, and it's called the Old Jaws Courtyard, which basically, the only way I can say it is it's
incredible.
It's a nightclub, but it's a day pub. So it's a nightclub vibe, but it's in the day. They have a DJ in, they have a dance floor, they have like disco lights and music and everything, but it's like 12:30 in the afternoon. So we just go in there and we enjoy the nightclub vibe in the day. Cheap booze as well. We always end up going
incredibly cheap Jaeger bombs, isn't it, Sam?
Very cheap Jaeger bombs. Yeah, we always end up going
too cheap.
Pretty trolleyed. So we went to Doncaster away.
To be fair, they do. I heard they have a worm infestation in that pub, though. So you might.
Yeah, it's very good. There was a worm spotted. I dyed my hair. More on that to come later. And then we sort of staggered up.
Did you, Sam, really dye your hair?
Yeah, well, sprayed it.
Some friends of the pod would consider Doncaster to be limbs after ending up in A&E.
Yes. That was the previous Doncaster game to confirm the 3-1 win in 2022. But going back now to Christmas 2025, I was memories of us all dancing and singing to Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne in Christmas jumpers at 1:30 in the afternoon, and it was to be quite an experience to be repeated. So we go into the ground, we go 1-0 down, and we go, oh, here we go. We have all this fun to see us lose, and then almost in the blink of an eye, we're 3-1 up. I think from the first from the equalising goal to the third goal for Argyle was about 5 or 6 minutes. I think genuinely from the second goal to the third was probably under a minute from the kickoff restart to us going 3-1 up. It was just an absurdly quick length of time. I did unfortunately slightly stain the coat of someone who will remain nameless by celebrating the third goal. I grabbed them and sort of put them into a headlock goal celebrating, forgetting that I had green hair dye or hairspray all over my hair, and I got my green hairspray on their nice blue coat. If you are watching in the comments, you can feel free to reveal yourself, but I did ruin somebody's rather expensive blue coat, which I'm very sorry for. But then
an awful lot about you, Sam. What about the game?
Well, coming to it, it was a very dominant performance. Like Adam said, it was one of the flashes of what the Tom Cleverley team would be capable of. I think we started to see consistent good performances, probably from like Burton at home onwards, but there were very much the odd game here and there before that when we saw flashes of it. And I think the main two were the two Graham and I have named, Burton and Doncaster. Doncaster was an incredible personal day. It was a very good performance, thoroughly deserved win. Some great Connor Hazard saves at the end as well. Admittedly, at 5-1, it wouldn't have really mattered, but it was good to just keep that 4-goal deficit. And very fun trip home. So that's my nomination. It's Doncaster 1, Argyle 5.
Yeah, Adam Price, can you top that?
I hope so. I think it's quite similar actually to a couple of things we've already heard, which is A, talking about the day as a whole as Sam has done, and B, the day as a whole contributing to an excellent occasion against Blackpool, as we did for the home game. Because the 4-0 at Blackpool, there's a lot to speak about in the sense that I accidentally ended up on the banana bus that day, which was, just for one way, but was an experience in its own right. And Sam desperately is trying to claim that, no, honestly, he did mean to sit next to me. It's just a weird thing that happened that ended up him having the spare seat next to him. And what a disaster it was for Sam down for that to happen. But no, I survived the journey. So that was nice. And we turned up to the game, and again, it was one of those where we were so much better than the opposition. But how many times have we been to a game where we've got the better quality and just not really made it count? Or even if we have, it's got a bit nervy for us at the end and we're clinging on. Not a bit of it on this occasion. We thoroughly outplayed them. We took the lead with an Alex Mitchell 35-yard screamer, which was obviously a terrific start. And then I think that was about 10 minutes before half-time. And there was a sense, and I think a lot of us were together for it, and there was just a sense through all of us that we can settle this before half-time. We can get one or two more before half-time and put this to bed before the break, because it felt like it was just one-way traffic. And Blackpool did not have a shot of any kind in the first half. I think, as I recall, I think we had... I don't have the stats in front of me. I've not got my computer. I've got an iPad in Austria, so it's tougher. But I believe we had 16 shots in the half to Blackpool's 0. So
I remember it being ridiculous. Anyway,
it really was. And luckily, well, not luckily. There's no luck about it. We took advantage of it and got those couple of goals after we got the opener to put the game to bed. Before the break, Pepple's got one, taking a whack in the face for his troubles, but he's got one, and then there's a lovely finish from Boateng as well, just to really seal the deal as we go in for our half-time pints. And more of the same in the second half. Yes, they did have at least one shot, but nothing that was particularly troubling. And we scored another tremendous goal where Caleb Watts has eventually finished it, but it's really a team move that's done it. It's one of the goals I think we'll talk about a little bit later on when we're delving down on this. But yeah, it topped off the performance. It topped off the day which then continued with our in-person podcast live from a hotel room that was not the one that I was in, because Sandown had flooded the bathroom in that one, so we needed to go into another. But there was we then had, I think, 3 bars we went in afterwards. There was the karaoke bar, there was the Irish bar. Oh no, there's only actually one that in between that only I went in, and that was for just a bowel movement. So yeah, it was just the 2 bars that will really ring a bell with everybody. But honestly, at the end, you put all that together. Top day.
We met a load of Argyle fans and shenanigans in Blackpool. If you're watching, it was a pleasure chatting to you.
We did, yes. Hello. And the ones, I think they all recognise Sam more than anybody, but that's par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah.
The problem I have with away games is I normally forget the football and normally just remember the night out. Whereas Blackpool, it's like both. Like John's rendition on the karaoke, incredible. Shenanigans was class. It's just a shame we didn't end up in Pop World in Blackpool. Wait, did we? No, that was a different night. And just incredible. Like Blackpool is just a great night out, isn't it? No matter how old you get, and let's be honest, we're getting on a bit. But like,
I've had a good night out in Blackpool.
Exactly. See, like it's just incredible.
What you're saying, Aaron, is you didn't come back to Pop World and anything
yes,
of that. No, okay.
Perfect. But like that Blackpool away game, the 2 things to add to what you said, Adam, is it was the battle of the Northern Irish keepers, in which Bailey Peacock-Farrell still gets picked over Connor Hazard, which is mental, and the Caleb Watts goal, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But I was trying to think of for my goal of the season, which we'll like I said, we'll get onto. I couldn't think of that hadn't already been picked. I couldn't think a better goal than Caleb Watts in that game. So I'm kind of hoping that Blackpool has chosen as our away game of the season. But moving on, John, I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce this. Marek Kiriston 2267 says Luton 2, Argyle 3. And to be honest, when we were thinking of away game of the season, this is right up there. It's definitely in the top 4 at least.
It's this for me, and obviously this season was unbelievable away from home. I mean, in previous years, it's been pretty slim pickings because we've had 2 of the 4 panelists will do the 2 wins that we had, and then other people have to be like, well, we got a good point at the Hawthorns or whatever.
Well, actually, losing 4-0 to Ian Everett's side is actually a good thing.
Yeah. So this was just a fantastic day out. It wasn't even in the part of the season where things were particularly enjoyable, although it's, I guess there's a bit of hindsight in saying that, because at the time it felt like we were really turning a corner. And obviously we went into those games against Stockport and then Luton thinking these are 2, good teams at this level. We could be in serious bother down at the bottom of the league if we can't get anything from these 2. And obviously then we put 4 past Stockport, which incredibly didn't get a mention in the best home games of the season, which, goes to show how many other good days we had at home, despite the home form not being incredible. And away, we went to Luton, and I think this is one for me where it's both about the game of football that was witnessed and also just the match experience, more so than, it being kind of a crazy night out or anything particularly personal. I actually ended up going to the Harpenden Beer Festival afterwards with a friend who lives in that neck of the woods, which was, a bit more sedate than shenanigans in Blackpool, it must be said. But Kenilworth Road is just an elite away day, a proper old school ground. Obviously you've got all the lore where you kind of go in through somebody's house, and that kind of shed that you go in the away end when it's full is got to be one of the noisiest away ends in the Football League, just because the sound really reverberates around it. And I'd been there twice before. That occasion I watched us lose 5-1 under Derek Adams, and then a 1-1 draw, obviously, with Talavirov scoring back in February of last year, I think it was, or March kind of time. So
can't believe you weren't there for the Dominic Blizzard slow motion jink through the defence.
No, I was sadly not. But so this was an amazing game to watch, in the sense it was just crazy stuff, back and forth, helter skelter. Obviously we took the lead with a great header, a diving header from Sorinola. They equalised, then Bradley Ibrahim scored a great goal, right on the cusp of half time, as people were kind of filtering out to have a pint, and the place just erupted. And then you come back after spending the entirety of the half time banging a bin on the floor, doing the Caleb Watts is running down the wing chant, with the sound echoing through what must be said is an excellent bar that they have. There are actually two of them in the Luton away end, not your sort of regular concourse pint situation, just really, really good. And then you go back into the ground and Edwards is sent off and they equalise. I think actually the other way around to what I've just said. But the balloon was punctured pretty quickly. And, it felt like at that point we'd be hanging on for a 2-2 draw if we were lucky. Then, of course, we had the unbelievable passage of play where Talai hit the worst shot you've ever seen from the very good comment from Richard. It's an Alan Partridge reference, by the way, for those who don't get it, which has distracted me. But yeah, great shot very poor shot from Talai from halfway. Their keeper, for whatever reason, still don't understand it to this day, squeezed it out for a corner, which then came in about half an hour later because Tom Cleverley was sent off in the interim as we sang his name and the Luton fans booed him mercilessly for being a Watford alum. And the corner came in, bounced around, and someone smacked it against Ibrahim's bum and it bounced in. And, for the rest of the game, we were just really dogged. I think I watched Cleverley's review of the season on Argyle TV and he said that was kind of a sign of things to come. And I think in hindsight, that's right. We didn't see much of it in that first half of the season, but on that occasion, we really dug in. And I know this sort of is a difference of opinion with Sam and I that we've discussed, but I actually thought we played very well that day and deserved it, certainly, to play that way with 10 men in the second half. Yeah, of course, Luton had chances. They were always going to, but I felt I thought it was actually a very good away performance. And at the time, a novelty, because although we would go on to win many games away from home, that was actually our first away win in the league. And obviously that made it one of 4 or 5 away wins in several years. So I thought that was a great occasion, a really fun game of football, and wonderful. And it was kind of sunny, it rained on and off, but it sort of counts as an early season fun in the Sunday as well.
Yeah, so in terms of like picking and wrapping up, my preferred is still Doncaster. However, I would be willing to cede it to probably any of the other 3, just because there is one that I really want to actually like battle for my one to win later. I think with Luton, I think we played well in the sense we really battled hard and worked hard. It was just like I find it hard to say we were that great. We probably only had we had a worldly goal. We had a goal which was like, with all respect, the biggest accident you've ever seen from both how the corner came about and then the corner. And the only
it was actually my second placed potential goal of the season, that Ibrahim's in off the bum.
Yeah, and then the only actual what we'd call, I guess, good chance we created was the Sorinola chance, which we scored from. But I want to make it very clear that doesn't make it go. The fact it was like a bit of a fluke doesn't
even that though, Sam. Right? If you could pick anybody in the squad to be diving header at the back post, you wouldn't pick him, would you?
No. I mean, to be fair, we don't really have many diving headers. Diving headers are kind of going out of football, aren't they? But
we had a diving header from Sorinola for the first goal.
That's what we're referring to. Like, there's not really much of a point of reference of other diving headers to compare it against. But yeah, to be clear, the point I'm making is the fact it was kind of a bit of a fluke in the nicest way doesn't put it down in estimation. That puts it up in estimation because it was such a crazy day. And yes, we absolutely did battle like warriors, and it certainly was a sign of things to come in terms of the spirit and determination. But I still think it is Doncaster. But if Graham and Adam are leaning
Luton,
no, the other thing no one's mentioned was the unity between the fans and the team, particularly second half when we were under the cosh. True. Because of the proximity you're virtually on the pitch. Mm-hmm. You could actually see, feel it, and it was a tremendous team effort. And by team, I include the fans. And for that reason, I think it's Luton.
We'll go in for that. Adam, do you want to fight really hard for Blackpool, or are you happy to settle it at Luton?
No, I'm again, much like last year, I think you overestimate how much I care about where this goes. So that's fine.
9:25, and we're 2 awards in, so we'll go back to that.
For you.
Hurry it up.
Oh my God, we are. How are we nearly an hour in? Anyway,
because Sam's been talking too much.
I'll try and be more succinct.
The only thing I was going to say about Luton away is very, very rarely known. People don't really know this. You actually go through people's gardens to get in the away end. It's a very rare known fact. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy to go with Luton away. John, you win that one. Best moment of the season. Let's go snake it back. John, start.
And unlike my Blackpool
Well,
home
finished.
where I was chronologically starting, I'm actually going to start at the end this time because my moment of the season, which is a separate category to game of the season. I think this kind of sums that up because it's not a game you would necessarily pick as being up there on the whole. And obviously, it was a very disappointing day in the end. But Wiradoo scoring at Northampton on the final day was what it means. It was just all about what it means to be a football fan. It was, I can't remember if it was the first or second time technically that we'd gone into the playoffs on live gameplay. I think certainly we did when we scored at Bradford and maybe against Huddersfield.
I think like possibly the third. I think it might be like an
It was the third. It was the third. Yeah.
But to do it that late, in any game, so it comes close to being the table at the end of play that day rather than just a thing that happens after 10 minutes. But obviously to do it on the final day and have those other results, very improbably both going in our favour, given, Stevenage's home record and propensity to win 1-0, which they eventually did with a goal that didn't go in. But yeah, I had not really let myself dream or believe all day because obviously that game was kind of going against us. Although that being said, I actually felt we would win the game pretty much the whole way through, even when we went 2-0 down because Northampton was so poor. But obviously I kind of felt one of those other results was liable to go against us. But you sort of there in the second half, we're at 2-2. Nothing is coming through from Stevenage. Bolton and Luton is a stalemate as well. And then suddenly we get that goal and it's an incredible release of just ecstasy. And then it's your heart's pounding and you're thinking, I promised myself I wasn't really going to get this into it today because it seemed so unlikely and there's still a little bit of time to go, but bloody hell, we are so close now. And then, of course, it didn't happen. But I think that sort of 10 to 15 minute spell, but the goal itself, just an incredible release of emotion. And I think, obviously we didn't finish sixth. I think to get into the top six at any stage of the season on live gameplay, certainly at that point where everyone had played the same amount of minutes by then, it wasn't a case of having games in hand, against us or for us. After the start of the season we had, is just a phenomenal achievement. And ultimately, we're 2 goals away from, hopefully having had a better go at Stockport than Stevenage managed. But incredible moment. Muted, mate. I've only been doing this for several years.
That's good. It's good, isn't it? I'll win some sort of award, I'm sure. Sam, Adam has disappeared somewhat. Do you want to go with yours?
Yes, we will take mine and hope Adam will come back. So I'm going to go. Oh, now he's dropped off completely. So maybe the Austrian Wi-Fi is playing a little bit funny. Hopefully he will come back on. So mine was full time at Wickham away in the league. Because it meant I would have to fulfill a certain bet, which we've kind of already touched upon, which was very amusing when I realised. It was also another day I had a little bit to drink. I promise I'm not a functioning alcoholic, but basically for some reason I thought there was about 15 minutes
left.
No,
you're a dysfunctional one, I think.
Yeah, very good. Basically, I thought we were still in about the 75th minute, and I didn't see the referee put his board up, and I thought there was still like about 20 minutes to go. So suddenly the full-time whistle blew. I was very surprised. But it was a wonder win at Wickham away. And whilst I think Wickham away as an overall performance was a bit more of a grindy out kind of win, it wasn't a stylish showcase like Burton was, like Doncaster was. It was more of a grisly kind of hard-fought win. There was a spell in Wickham away, like a 15-minute spell, where we just showed a bit of magic. But we were pressing like absolute, leopards. We were chasing down every ball. Incredible resilience, incredible work rate. John's not sure on pressing like leopards. Clearly, it's the first word that came to mind. And I think at full time Wickham away, there was a bit of a moment of triumphalism, if you like, that we sort of realised, yes, it wasn't the best performance, but we did defend hard. We had that 15-minute spell of playing brilliantly, and maybe, just maybe, there might be something in this, because again, obviously that wasn't the first win of the upturn in form. There was Port Vale where we won 1-0, and superintendent said it sounded like I said leopards rather than leopards. Well, certainly not leopards. No, leopards. I should make quite clear. That might make John laugh even more than he already is.
That makes an awful lot more sense.
It was really the absolute leopards that really made it for me as well. In addition to,
I heard that leopards never change their spots.
Yeah, so I'm going for full time at Wickham away. Like, it wasn't the first win of that run. Port Vale, and then obviously Orient in the Pizza Cup. And whilst they were both nice moments, I still very much was thinking, right, it's great that we've won, but I still don't think this manager's the right guy for us at all. Whereas after Wickham, I still wasn't 100% sure he was the right guy, but that was the one that made me think, oh, it does make me wonder, doesn't it? And that was a bit of a nice moment to end a long day on, and that's why I'm nominating full-time at Wickham away as my moment of the season.
Is that why you changed from guaranteed relegation to, we might stay up here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe. What was better, Sam? Quickly, the full time there or the full time when we beat them when Sam Cosgrove converted?
I think definitely that was better in obviously the season was much better for the full time for the Cosgrove one. So I guess it was better because we were near the top of the league. But I think just in terms of what the game meant in the context of the season, the one this season felt better, I would say.
Class. We've never had any beef with Wickham, have we? So that's good. Adam, you're back. Do you want to do yours?
Yeah, well, I've been looking through the list, and I don't remember putting something as benign as Malachi Boateng scoring against Exeter, but apparently I did. So
you're welcome to change it if there's
about that. No, we're here now. What I will say about that is that it's more if you look at what's happening on the other side, where they think they've just beaten their local rivals and going to give themselves another victory to keep themselves in the league, and then it doesn't happen because I think it may well be only our second goal of the season after one that's been mentioned earlier that has officially gone in off what's been listed as other body parts. So that was nice, and to have that going last minute. But yeah, the rest of the occasion was pretty terrible, and I remember celebrating more in anger than anything, wanting us to go on and win the game. So yeah, I don't know why I've put that, and I'd like this to be disregarded pretty much immediately.
Yeah, no, fair enough. You have taken my point there.
Adam, thank you.
Yeah, you have taken my point there, but I've often said that I don't care about Exeter, and they're just like the little brother you pat on your head. But actually, as Boateng scores that, and they're on course to go down, you're like, actually, it's quite funny, isn't it? See you in League Two. Well, we won't see you in League Two. They'll be in League Two. Thank God. Good job, Sam's almost certainty of relegation didn't come true. Maybe next year, huh? We'll soon find out. Graham, your moment of the season.
Yeah, it was an extended period moment of the season, I think, in fairness, because as Sam has already alluded to, it would be the end of the Port Vale game, the last 5 minutes of the 90 and the 5 or 6 minutes of added time was the time when the crowd were as loud as they were all season, and certainly gave the whole game and the Leicester game a run for their money in terms of loudness, getting behind the team. And it was the summation, and it's an often used phrase, one Argyle, but that was one Argyle. Team on the pitch, management off it, and fans doing everything they could to get the team home over a difficult period with the way the game went. And I was truly elated after the whistle went, and what a fantastic time to have your potential investors filming it and watching it.
And I think if I can do the Sam role here and talk about the overall thing, I'm willing to shift my vote to Graham's. I wasn't there, but from the video, it just looked incredible. And I think also if you would to add in a bit after that, when they did the lap of appreciation, to see Wiradoo in particular have his name sung by the entire Devonport end just felt like such a full circle moment after that terrible embarrassing start to the season that he had in front of that same goal when he scored that own goal against Barnsley. So yeah, I'll join the Port Vale train here.
Yeah, and Adam is not going to spend a second defending his. And mine, I very much admitted, is kind of just more like a personal soft spot one. So we're all in agreement. It's the final 10 minutes of the Port Vale game.
Yeah, which documentary is that on? Is that last season or next season? So, yeah, sorry. Hopefully, Mr. Netflix gets involved. That'd be good. Any comment, Adam?
No.
Oh, I suppose that is a comment. Just saying no. Let's move on. As we're talking about own goals, John, let's move on to banter moment. We'll switch worst game and banter moment around. I really want you to start with this one, Adam. You are in Austria. You are the closest person to, was it SK Johann? Where did we play, John?
St. Johann in Tyrol.
Yeah, there. You are the closest person. Please just kick us off with it's up there with one of my favourite moments of following Argyle. The fact that we spent hundreds of pounds and hours to go to Austria to watch that moment is incredible. It's just incredible.
I think it needs a bit of scene setting, really, to really get the picture of why this was so bonkers. Because we're playing Braunschweig, which already incredible matchup. The sort of thing you'll only get about 8 years old pressing randomize on your FIFA controller. The fact that there is Vi Bundesliga side after the summer we had is also quite impressive and in keeping with the bit.
Not the Spy Bundesliga.
Absolutely not. No. But in this time, it's a camp of pre-season where we've not signed a player in a little while at this stage who hasn't already been on trial. So there was I think it was July the 4th when we got the deal for Peppel over the line. We then managed to get
the same day, Adam. We were in a certain studio near London Bridge that day, weren't we?
We were indeed, and it was. Oh no, it wasn't as fun that day. It was the time before that was particularly impressive. Anyway, so I think it was a few days after that we confirmed the signing of Eamon Benarous, but he'd already been here, so it didn't feel like particular news. And there's a bit of a lull, and you realise that we're looking for a second choice goalkeeper, and we had a few on trial that are a bit weird. Like a guy from MLS for some reason popped along for a bit of training, and that never happened. And then you hear that Luke Ashby Hammond, the poshest sounding name, who's come from Fulham, which sticks with the bit again, is here on trial, who we knew very little of, other than the fact that he probably had a full season with Aldershot in the National League at one stage. So let's have a look. Maybe this will do. And we've not signed anyone, as I say, for a little while, so we're getting a little bit desperate. But hey, at least we can trust the guy to just keep things flowing in this what is ultimately a pointless friendly game. Look decent enough. I mean, maybe catch one or two balls, but do nothing in particular, and do enough to say, okay, yeah, we're gonna give this guy a contract. I think by the end of it, I've not even mentioned what exactly happened. I don't think we need to at this point, because it is kind of written into folklore that this trialist who we're going to have to sign just passed the ball into his own net for some reason. But
it's not just that. It's just how perfectly bottom corner he puts it. Like, you could not give him 100 chances to do that again.
No, I mean,
perfectly placed.
Was terrific. As finishes go, in the first half of the season, he could very much have given some of our strikers a run for their money. But I think, having said all that as to what he needed to do to get a contract, he did the exact opposite. And then he got a contract anyway. We looked at that happening and went, that's what we need. That's what we're after.
I know we're running over time. We've got to give John
we are.
45 seconds to tell the anecdote that he's
I was going to jump in. There are actually two funny anecdotes related to this. The first is that we were sat in the open training session the day before this game, trying to work out who he was, which took a while. Yeah, that's right. And
Zinedine Zidane's Greek son. That's what we call it.
Yeah, and the day after the game, we were in Munich by this point, and Aaron and I and our friend of the pod, Pieface, went for a nice Lime bike out to the Allianz Arena in this shirt, and came back. Left the Lime bikes in town, and as we're walking away from them, an American gentleman comes up with his friend and says, is that a Plymouth Argyle shirt? And so we're saying yes. And the first thing he says is, oh, yeah, incredible. I saw your goalkeeper on TikTok earlier. So this had gone internationally viral. It then turned out that this guy, when we asked him what he did, plays for Bayern Munich's second team. And we were having a conversation with him about whether he wanted to come on loan.
And it fully was actually him as well, wasn't it? You looked him up, and it was the same. It actually was.
And his mate did it. He was a bit quieter, but his mate played for them as well. Incredible moment.
Class. How did they get on this season, John? I assume you followed their careers.
Bayern Munich, no idea. Do you want me to quickly chip in with
go on.
I'm talking? My banter moment contender would be Talai kicking the ball out of the stadium at home to Northampton after he got sent off. I was in New Zealand for this. And it was very early in the morning, and I woke up to get a ferry, quite hungover after watching my beloved Wellington Phoenix the night before, and stuck the second half of the game on. And obviously, all was going terribly wrong. Didn't really see the incident. I don't think it was really caught on the initial camera feed, but did see him, boot the ball really, really hard off the cone. The best contact from that area of the touchline at Home Park since Rooney kicked the water bottle at that fan off when celebrating. No, not even celebrating, commiserating during the Blackburn game. But I just thought, it's worth a shout for this category because it perfectly encapsulated what a joke we were at that time.
He's buried the lead as well, which is that he actually fell as he kicked the ball.
Yes, and he fell over as he kicked it. Phenomenal, ridiculous moment. Less funny than the one Adam put forward, but I think worth including.
Sam, do you want to follow that up? Because
they're both funny, but I think for sheer nationwide virality, I'm so sorry, Charlie, if you're watching. I think you're great. it has to be the Charlie Price and Tom Cleverley interview that went completely viral when the cameras were running and they clearly didn't realise the cameras were running. And Charlie Price is trying to get the setup to interview Tom Cleverley and is getting more and more frustrated at whoever's on the other end of the phone for not getting the framing right or something wasn't quite right. And to start the interview, and Tom Cleverley's getting frustrated and shaking his head. And clearly neither of them realise the whole thing is going out live. And Tom Cleverley eventually just walks off and presumably comes back to the interview later, but just walks off. And it got very, very viral. I think it even made the Sun or the Mirror or something. And then it coming off the 4 losses in a row to start the season, I think just really summed up the slightly rickety and shambolic state. I feel so bad. I love our media guys. I'm really sorry to remind them of what was clearly a very embarrassing moment, but it absolutely, for me, that is the banter moment of the season.
Which leaves me. Something that did go viral was Alex Mitchell's post-match interview after Blackpool away. And I had to re-watch it to remember it, and I've got it quoted. But I think that was the first time we realised how much he was the self-styled joker of the pack before assuming his DJ role for the team. But the first thing he said, he scored an absolute banger from 30 yards, volley, he said. When I think, Adam, you described the goal, I think Herbie Kane put it into the 6-yard box just by the far post and he scrambled it home with a miss hit, was the reality of the situation. But then he said about the celebration, he said, celebration brilliant, sprinted my heart out, changed of direction, sprinted more than anyone on the pitch just through my celebrations. And then we got that, what became vaguely familiar, high knee lift, pre-runner of his Cheltenham escapade, I think. I think he was warming up for that. So it falls in a pale second place to Luca's incredible own goal, but worthy of a mention because he endeared himself to not only Argyle fans, but the wider football community.
It's always the hardest category to judge this because every single one of them.
I'm going to say
it's Ashby Hammond for me. I'm sorry.
It's
Ashby Hammond by a country mile, but all 4 of
you
them
couldn't. Somebody might say you couldn't make it up.
Fair enough. I would still personally vote for mine, but I'm clearly outvoted. And like I said, there is one later on I really want to get mine to win. So I'll cede and then say it's Ashby Hammond's own goal.
Absolutely incredible, isn't it? The fact that we saw one goal out in Austria and that was it. Phenomenal. I have been following Fabio Kaufmann, who is an Eintracht Braunschweig
very nice bloke,
centre midfielder, who actually took more time than a whole squad combined to talk to them, to talk to us after the Eintracht Braunschweig game, and wouldn't give me his shirt because he said that they have a deal with Puma and they weren't allowed to give them up because they didn't have enough money. But yeah, I've been following him on FootMob. It's been exceptional this season. And although he did lose to Schalke, Miran Muslic's Schalke this week, I know John is a big fan. We'll get on to Schalke later, I'm sure. We are an hour in and we've done 3, 4.
4 now.
Incredible. Worst game. Should we just fire through this quickly? I can't remember which order. Graham, worst game of the season.
Northampton home, 3-0 defeat till I sent off.
Kevin,
no more to say.
Yeah, sensational. Sam, quick and sharp. Let's go.
I'm going to get a little bit more detail than Graham did, at least. And Adam appears to have lost Wi-Fi again, so I'll elaborate a little bit. It's a totally random one. It's a really personal one. because I feel sometimes subjectivity is good for these. Peterborough home, that's probably not one that anyone else will probably have on the list, but for some reason, as John will testify, that pretty much caused like a 48-hour group chat meltdown. It was just like, oh my goodness, this is like that. That tweet was
I
just
wonder
like,
who was melting down.
Argyle. I wanted to punch a wall. I wanted to kick a wall. That's so typical Argyle. We've had 2 good wins against Stockport and Luton. We've come into the bottom of the league side at home, and we barely, created a decent goal scoring opportunity all game. We've lost 1-0 at home.
Apart from the one that went over the line. But yeah, apart from that
over the line?
Yeah, from Mitchell.
No. I don't think that. It went about as over the line as the Pepper one that got given did, which is not very. I was just so angry, and what are we like? And I know this is all negative, self-destructive thinking, and this is kind of why I'm saying it like this, because it was a meltdown, and I reacted to that game very badly. But that game basically broke my enjoyment of football for genuinely a few months. I can't lie to you. Even in the October, as John will testify, as someone who from the start of 2024 has often had big meltdowns both in the ground and online, you basically didn't really hear a meltdown from me for about 3 months after that game, up to Lincoln home the 4-1. And I think that was just because we'd got so good up to the Lincoln home 4-1.
We hear a meltdown from you on a weekly basis, Sam. So
Aaron, that's the point. You usually do, but for that little bit of time, even at games like Wickham away and Huddersfield away, when everyone else was shouting abuse and getting angry and getting red-faced, I was just stood there yeah, I'm just miserable. I'm just like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Just the lights all gone out of me with this. And that Peterborough game is basically just ruined my enjoyment of football for about 3 months, just because of the sheer this is so Argyleism nature of it. And I know that's a rubbish way for me to think, but it's my bottom pick for that reason. And John will testify that whatever I'm saying is at least true, even if it's not very rational.
Yeah, he did. He did do that. I'll go next. I think Adam might be backstage again, but yeah, I'm actually, so it's kind of like the best home game where I went for Blackpool, even though it's probably not going to be my overall pick. I want to pick a game that I was at, and as I mentioned before, I was in Australia and New Zealand for a decent portion of the kind of worst of our form, including that Northampton game. So I managed to avoid attending some of those, thankfully. But I think the worst game I attended was Wickham away in the FA Cup when we lost 2-0. It goes a bit under the radar because it was an FA Cup game and therefore less important than the league, but it was right in the middle of that dreadful spell away from home where we didn't look like scoring if we'd played until Christmas. And it was the nadir that I observed, certainly, in terms of the relationship between the fans and the players. I mean, I know, Graham, you mentioned the good relationship that was established at Luton. It was completely the opposite at Wickham. You had arguments with Dale kind of blasting the fans for not supporting the team during the game. Hazard and Talai sort of had a bit of an exchange with the supporters, some supporters who went down to the front afterwards. I think it was 20 solid minutes of booing, at the end of the game. And it was a terrible performance as well. I'm not going to go to bat for this one in terms of the overall outcome, because I think it should be that Northampton game, which is, perfect as the nadir of our season. But for me, in terms of the games that I was personally at, that was the lowest.
Sorry, Adam, I'm gonna talk over you here because this was my suggestion, so I'm gonna take it. But the Exeter away game, it's a Devon derby. You have to, bare minimum, you have to show up. You have to show some fight to get turned over so easily, even though they despise us. Good luck in League Two. Bless them. Having to change their little banner pre-game was hilarious. But that was just horrific. I've said it before, don't care much about Exeter. Actually, I secretly do. But it's just the way we didn't turn up. The circumstances as well around Alex Mitchell, who clearly shouldn't have been playing. I appreciate people deal with grief differently, but he just shouldn't have been on the pitch. And we were just awful all over, everywhere. Every single player to a man were terrible that day, 0 out of 10, every single one of them. Horrific game to lose to your nearest rival, if we can call them that. Just horrific. That Extra away game, the train home, I just felt so terrible. Okay, as superintendent says, we got the last laugh on them overall, but in the course of the season, we win that game instead of losing it. That's us in the playoffs. I appreciate hindsight's a wonderful thing, but we were awful that day. One of the worst.
But also, Aaron, it's not just Argyle in the playoffs. If everything else had been static, we would never have had that terrible run of form if we had turned up and beaten Exeter
No, sure, but I feel
he
like
was a real catalyst for that.
every manager comes in and goes, "Oh, it's just another game," but it isn't just another game.
No.
Like we have to turn up. We
Cleverly
have to
didn't.
do
Cleverly
110.
didn't say that. If anything, Cleverly took too far the opposite approach. In my opinion, he clearly got massively in his own head about how important it was.
Fair enough. But
We did score first, though, didn't we?
Yeah, true. But we were still,
And it wasn't offside.
we were still awful that game. But I'm happy to see that game because Exeter don't matter to me, so I don't care. Adam, is there any other game you want to add to that, or?
I don't think so. I think, to be honest, that the Exeter and Northampton ones would be I guess we'll call them the bottom two for me. And I will happily cede to the Northampton one, which was just as horrific and as bottomed out, I guess you can possibly be. I think the way I summarise it is that the Northampton game was the one I left the most depressed, and the Exeter one was the one I left the most angry, based on what I'd seen. So I think that they're both, very reasonable contenders. But in terms of exactly where it felt we were ending up, that Northampton game's got to take it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, Northampton full time is only like one of the very, very rare occasions I actually would like retrospectively angry we'd won a game, because I thought, if we'd have lost or drawn at Port Vale and then put in that performance at home, he would have been gone. So I was almost regretting the fact that we won at Port Vale. That was how low Northampton had got us, and clearly I was very wrong.
Port Vale away game, even though we won that Port Vale away game, that was
it was an absolutely turgid game. That's like if you asked me to list all like the wins I've seen as an Argyle fan from like best to least good win, that is probably right at the bottom of like.
That's awful. I just want to be horrifically hungover as well after. Nothing major happened the night before, obviously, but like just.
Well, no, it didn't happen 2 nights before.
Was it?
Yeah.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, that Friday in Leeds of doing sod all, didn't we? Really?
That's how.
Not very nice to the golf, is it?
No, we had a good game of adventure golf. That's very
okay. So I assume we're just going worst game Northampton.
Yes,
absolutely. Okay, let's move on to some positives. Goal of the season, John Alsop, take us away.
I was going to go to bat for the entire season for the Watts at Blackpool one, which I think someone else might mention, but I actually think the goal of the season was Talai at Wimbledon.
Genuinely baffled that you've picked this over because the way you spoke about that Caleb Watts is the reason why I picked it, because you made me believe it was incredible, and then you picked it
was, and I think the official club goal of the season was that Pepple one at Wigan, which was also an incredible team move. But I thought the one for the Watts one was slightly better, if anything. It wasn't quite as long in terms of having every player touch the ball, which I know some people like, but the actual movements at the end with the little dink over the top. Anyway, someone else is going to talk about that, so I'll shut up. But the Talai at Wimbledon, I think, was even better, and I think it is still a good move. I like a team goal, as Sam will attest, as opposed to sort of an individual blockbuster one. The one kind of, for the purists that would be a little bit dissatisfying about this goal is that one of their defenders gets a touch on the ball in to divert it to Harding. So it's not kind of a pure, stringing together a nice passage of play. But the assist is unbelievable. Harding just sort of like dinks a little ball in between two defenders, which is a great piece of skill for a defender. And the finish from Talai it's everything that's fantastic about him. It's such a throwback goal, and yet at the same time, the sort of goal that you will never see again. It has that quality of being both like 1980s football and also just totally magic. He's just stuck out a foot, and I think it's totally intentional. Just sort of guided it into the corner. It is the most instinctive goal I think I've ever seen a striker score. Where you just sort of you can see his brain kind of just in the split second that he has to kind of adapt to the flight of the ball, just go, if I just touch it like this, it might fly in. But normally that instinctive finish would be from 6 yards, and this was from the edge of the box. It is a perfect goal, in my opinion, in terms of the finish. It is so important because it gives us a 2-1 lead in a game we have to win. Brilliant. Loved it. And to be fair, this is probably the season more than any I can remember where there is a goal of the season competition that we could go on for half an hour about it, because there were some unbelievable ones. But
I think the same with the 23-24 season though. Like there were probably about Izaz and Whittaker could have a competition of their own each from that season.
I can think of multiple Izaz goals that were just in there on his own. But yeah, sure. So, John, you weren't a massive fan of Izaz, so you wouldn't know that. Arguably his biggest fan ever. Adam, is there any you want to add? I know that we've kind of given you Watts versus Blackpool. But...
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk about it again, as I've talked about Blackpool away in general. And it was one of those where I think it just summed up the brilliant day that we'd all had and the brilliant performance that we had, that we'd score a goal like that. And I'm with John on it in the sense that it reminded me of the Peppel goal or Peppel's. No, he did only score the one, didn't he? At Wigan away when it was a team move and there were lots of players involved. But this one, I think, just in the way that every single part of the move is so well executed that everyone's just in that move. Yes, it's not everybody in the team, but it's just played so much to perfection. That the work from the initial ball coming in from the sideline, getting it in the middle, the movement off the ball as well to make it work as well, and then the finish, which I know he doesn't even necessarily catch it well, but just the satisfaction that it's got in off the bar as well is just really nice.
I think he did catch it well. I don't agree with this at all. I think he intends to just hit it into the floor and hard into the top. It's a clever finish because the keeper's not expecting him to go at the near post there. You'd think he would hit it across goal, but it's I think he's absolutely meant it. I think it's a great goal.
I agree.
Only he will know, but it was a lovely finish to watch in any case.
No, I agree. And obviously because he's Australian, it's upside down, right? So he's going to fire it into the floor rather than up in the corner.
I'm also in the camp that says he meant it, but I'm again low confidence in either way. It was very lovely to watch. After the two so far, and spoiler alert, the one to come, are all going for great team goals. So I've got to break the mold a little bit by going for a fantastic individual goal, and it was in a game that was a pretty rubbish game actually. And it was the only high point of that game, which was Lincoln home, and Bim Peppel put us 1-0 up with, for me, quite possibly the best goal I've seen at home park in a good few years. And I'm including, maybe the Finazard's Watford New Year's Day is the one that comes close. But the pure individual skill from Bim Peppel for that goal, he picks it up the better part of 35 yards away from goal. He puts that as far in the corner as you can without skimming the post. In the words of Andy Gray, you don't save those, as he always used to say on Sky's Soccer Super Sunday, rather. You don't save those at all. There are a lot of great long-range goals that, as much as they are amazing, if the keeper just stands still, they probably just go flying into the keeper and maybe wind him or maybe concuss him. That one was not only power, it was the best combination of power and placement I've seen from an Argyle finish in a long length of time. Like other good individual goals, you can give an honourable mention to Caleb Watts at Stockport, but again, that one is maybe more of a goalkeeping error. In
adjudication, the Caleb Watts goal at Stockport was hit at him by Matthias Ross and flicked it off his head.
I misspoke again. I apologise. The Caleb Watts at home, the Stockport honourable mention, but I think that one was a bit more of a goalkeeping error and it kind of went across him. That one at Lincoln, I think genuinely, it's not hyperbole to say I don't think there is a keeper in the world that saves that Bim Peppel goal at home to Lincoln.
Sam, the thing you missed to mention was Hazard's clearance, but his first touch with his right foot.
Yeah.
First touch with the right foot, deft, and then swept in with his left.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was, it's got to be that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You all love a team goal. That's fine. But
I'm going to advocate the team goal, but I'm actually going to vote for Bim's individual goal. And just quickly, the Wigan goal, it did get I think it won the goal of the season award, the club's goal of the season. 8-man move, and symbolised the way we were playing at the time. Edwards and Ronan Curtis combining well on the right hand side, good interplay, ball into Malachi Boateng, slotted across, and Peppel banged it in. I mean, he did bang it in, and great team goal. But I'm going to say now, I'm going to vote for Bim Peppel individual.
I think this is going to be the closest we've come to a standoff so far. I think there could be a bit of debate here. So, John and
Adam,
can I just add my two pence? Two goals that I wanted to nominate is obviously Bradley Ibrahim in off his arse, incredible goal, and Alex Mitchell's 30-yard screamer against Blackpool.
Adam, what's your thinking here?
I mean, As much as I hate to say it for team top of the screen, I am leaning closer to Sam for the argument of and Graham indeed as well, for the argument of Pepple's not only his finish, but the way he's worked it as well. I mean,
The thing is, there is also a team aspect to it from the way it's come so quickly from Hazard. You can even, there's a little bit of a...
Well,
And you know-
it was the unusual nature that it came quickly from Hazard.
Yeah, well,
Factor that in.
Well, yeah.
Because he saw him run, because Bim actually ran from close to the halfway line. But it was that first touch. And just to correct you, Sam, it wasn't 35 yards, it was 25. Because I actually watched it again just to double check. But even so, and it made us all realise, I think, bloody hell, we got some special striker here.
I agree. I think the only thing that goes against it is, look, some people prefer team goals, that's a preference. The only other thing is just the context of the game it came in. It did come in a 4-1 defeat. But, like, it was a 4-1
Sam, let me-
No, but we were out playing Lincoln at the time.
Yeah, we started the better team.
And let me
Second half was our downfall, but first half we played well.
let me say this. I prefer a team goal for goal of the season. Actually, though, in terms of football, I might be the only person who really enjoys long ball, direct football when it works. And that was kind of Muslich-esque in its execution, you know, like long goalkeeper ball. I just think there's something so beautiful about the ball going from one end of the pitch to the other with as few touches happening as possible, because that is ultimately what football is about, right? Like, it's about trying to get the ball in the other team's net. So, yeah, I will actually cede and happily endorse this as the winner. I think if we'd have more of a split decision, I'd be making more of a case for the Watts at Blackpool or the Talai at Wimbledon. And I think actually that was still my personal preference was the Talai at Wimbledon one. But yeah, I'll take that. I'll allow Pebble.
Talai at Wimbledon was a finish of a man who's never played football before and swung his leg at it. Like,
No,
that
it wasn't. This is absolute rubbish. It was the touch of a pure striker.
Oh, of course.
It was.
You would score that on a Thursday night or whenever it is you play on it.
I would not.
I'm going to go in between. I'm going to go more charitable than Aaron, but less enthusiastic than John. I think he just kind of stuck his leg out at it, but that is the sign of a good finisher. It's
the perfect goal. But I will allow Pepple to win.
Sam, when you turn up at the charity game next year and do exactly that, I'll believe you. Let's. I feel like we should go for Pepple because I feel like Laurent Talai might win an award later on. So let's give.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give it to Pepple.
Yeah. Good.
Love that. Moving on to Unsung Hero. John, do you want to go first? I can't remember which order we went in.
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, this has been a podcast mostly about the men's team, so I'm going to quickly mention Marie Howrahan, the head coach of the women's team. Not so much unsung in the sense that I feel like she's been very highly praised by people in the women's game and indeed people at the club, you know, across both sides of it. But obviously, we haven't really discussed that aspect of it on this award show, which again is obviously mostly focused on the men's players. But yeah, just an unbelievable season. I mean, we've discussed it at length and sort of in passing throughout the campaign, but the level of improvement and sort of like increased, not just improvement on the pitch, but increased kind of buzz and professionalism about the whole operation this season. And, you know, in terms of the women's team has been incredible. Clearly, you know, didn't quite end how we wanted it to. They fell short both in the cup final against Bournemouth, which we attended, and the playoff final against Wolves at Burton, which is really heartbreaking because it was a great opportunity to go up given the expansion of the league this year. But yeah, I mean, that team, for anyone who's watched it before to this season, the improvement was vast. And Marie just feels like someone who, you know, with no disrespect to the people who were in charge previously, is just a huge cut above where this club was. She's like a really serious, highly regarded person within the women's game. So to get her was a coup. And yeah, she really executed on that, did a phenomenal job. And I think, yeah, she would be my, again, not exactly unsung, but in the context of this podcast, would like to draw attention to her, to the work that she did.
Some would argue, John, though, in if rumours are to believe, that's exactly how he wanted the season to finish. But less on that. But I
don't buy that. I don't buy that.
No. Sure, I completely agree because I feel like if we had, and maybe from next season we should have a women's player of the season. I feel like we'd all collectively agreed on Phoebe Poole anyway. So maybe we should just.
Well, can we just do that now by a show of hands? Because I think we all agree. So there we go. Yeah.
That was the quickest category yet.
Whoa, quick.
Wait, hang on. Sam wants to do an analysis of Phoebe Poole's performance against AFC Bournemouth at Loftus Road for the next half an hour. So, Sam.
Yeah, perfect.
Don't.
We've got plenty of time for that. Adam Price, your unsung hero. You are welcome to choose another if you don't want to choose mine.
No, I can roll with it. I can absolutely roll with it with Tom Randall being an unsung hero. I think for a few reasons. I think for the way that the recruitment has, in hindsight, worked out, has obviously been orders of magnitude better than we expected. But I think if we're looking at it initially and the way that it was, let's say, underrated, to put it lightly, by everybody, not least the club's own board at that post-Northampton fan forum who stood up and publicly called out the players and said the recruitment was absolutely terrible. The fact that it's all worked out now is... It gives us a lot of food for thought. And actually, the reason Randall's such a good idea for the unsung hero is that this revisionism of the recruitment has all happened since Randall has already left the club. And everyone's kind of the impression, maybe David Fox's ideas weren't so bad after all. But of course, Randall would have been involved in that as well and hasn't got the similar sort of reassessment of his role. So, yeah, I as I say, can absolutely run with that. I think it's a good opportunity to pay respect to somebody who wasn't at the club for very long. Initially looked like they'd done a terrible job, but actually, having looked back and having seen how things have transpired, he picked out a few real gems that are going to make us a lot of money as we're going forward into this transfer window and beyond. So, fair play to the guy.
It's interesting. I don't know how much I can say. It's interesting. And Tom Randall would be.
Who appointed him, Aaron?
Exactly, Graham. Sam, why don't you go with your unsung hero?
Yeah,
please, quicker.
That's a tangled web to unravel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we flattered to desist. That's not
my unsung hero.
But if it wasn't for, they'd be in. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, very good. My unsung hero is the man who ended the often used saying, "We never score from corners." And my unsung hero is the assistant first team coach, Matt Bevans. He has absolutely transformed us from set pieces this season, even in like the first part of the season where we weren't very good. Like Stockport, home, obviously we won 4-1, but even in the games we lost, we looked a lot more dangerous from set pieces. And then in the kind of November, December onwards, 10 times better from set pieces. We have scored the most goals from corners of any team in League One this season. Yes, that's partly due to Ronan Curtis's great delivery, but it's also due to the organisation. The drills are absolutely on point. We've scored the second most goals from any set pieces this season after Lincoln. We have gone from being possibly the worst set piece team in the 92 to one of the best. Who do you credit for that? Tom Cleverley has said many, many times in interviews, that would be Matt Bevans. He works on set pieces alongside analyst Harry Powell and, of course, the legend that is Kevin Lansky. We can't go awards without mentioning him in some capacity, but Taylor is Matt Bevans. He's a young coach. He's only 32, younger than me, in fact, and he's was brought in by...
younger than you, bloody hell.
Shut up. So he was brought in by Tom Cleverley as someone he really wanted to bring in and work on the technical side, the organisation, the drills. And for me, how much better we've got at both attacking and defensive set pieces. In an age where football, for better or worse, the set piece is king in football at the moment. He has absolutely moved, not in my view, but he has absolutely moved with the zeitgeist, and he has made Argyle a fantastic set piece team. So my nominee, without a shadow of a doubt, and nobody really knows his name, and he's
exactly.
brilliant.
I was going to say, Sam, the reason why he is unsung is because until you said his name, I didn't have a clue who he was. Like I do.
Well, I think that, so. I'll be honest. I'll let Graham say it, obviously, but that was the one I really wanted to fight.
Yeah, I feel like Graham's might be slightly divisive in the comments, which is great. I love that. Comment below and let us know your thoughts on Graham's. But actually, we've had Elliot Turner, we've had Kevin Nanskivell last season. I feel like, Sam, you might be on to a winner here.
Kevin Nanskivell being awarded unsung anything is preposterous, by the way. The bloke, sorry, I love the bloke, but the bloke is the most sung man at Plymouth Argyle and has been for years. Sorry.
If anything, John, Ryan Hardy is the most sung because he had 4 different chants to himself. Graham, unsung.
Yeah, this is going to be slightly unusual because I'm going to say Simon Hallett, because you've got to reflect upon the season that he's had, and the pressure he was under, not least at the fans forum on the 1st of December, and that was the first time perhaps that he suffered in the full glare of the cameras some of the hostility that some fans showed at that fans forum. But he stuck to his guns and believed in Tom Cleverley. I think he was helped massively by Derek Adams. But that isn't the reason why he's an unsung hero, because it's naturally assumed that if you're the owner or custodian of the club, you're going to have to fund it and dig deep. He's dug deep several times, and he did so again this season. But I'm going to say that I know now he's ready to move on, and it's a big decision for him, and he's structuring something in a way that enables it to happen, and I commend him for it. And for that reason, I'm going to say he's the unsung hero, because people, they give the chairman owner flack, but sometimes you've got to doff your cap to him and what he's trying to do, not necessarily in his best personal interests, but for the future of the club. And I commend him wholeheartedly as being unsung in the face of a lot of adversity.
Counterpoint, his name was sung. Not positively.
No, exactly. I wasn't going to draw attention to that.
Yes, no, fair enough. I'm just stepping in quickly, by the way, for Aaron, who'll be back momentarily as host. To adjudicate this one, I think that personally, I think Hallett's too divisive, I'm afraid. Randall I quite like as a shout, because I think the bloke has owed a big apology for some of the criticism he got.
John, why do you think he's divisive, just out of interest?
Oh, I think it's a divisive shout to say he's the unsung hero, given that, well, I think, we've had this discussion in other formats, but I think other people would say that and actually not me, to be clear, as much as some others, but I think other people would say where we finished in the season was an underachievement. And I think some of his comments rub people up the wrong way. Anyway, for me, I like the Randall shout in the sense that, he's deserved a big apology. I also think, though, that the balance of recruitment in the summer was wrong, and also that Cleverley deserves credit for developing those players. So for me, I think it has to be Bevans. I think this is the most cut and dry case of this we've had in many years, personally.
I feel like it's literally by unsung by name, right? The fact that none of it, I didn't.
Yeah, I want to say on Graham's shout, I think it's actually it's a very reasonable shout in the sense of being unsung, in the sense that I do think for all the faults he's had, all the mistakes made, it does go and maybe taken for granted a bit that he does fund the losses to the extent he does, and I think that is underappreciated. So I absolutely get it from the unsung angle. Where I just wouldn't quite commit to it is, well, firstly, because I think Bevans is the clear winner. Sorry to say, but also just because I think, to some extent, and I do agree it is unsung, but to quite a large extent, it is bad decisions he's made in the past seasons, and lessly so at the start of this season, that have led us into the situation where we are incurring so many losses. Now, yes, absolutely on the way to rectifying that, but for me, that's what stops him in being considered as a winner of this category. But I do agree from the unsung angle, yes, absolutely. Randall's a good shout. Marie Hurahan, good shout. But yeah, I'll be all happy to commit to Matt Bevans.
And if we were going to sing, him, how about corners? He knows what they're worth. Matt Bevans is the best on earth.
Arguably, not even the best corner in Argyle history.
Still 3 categories to go, guys. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. Let's try and keep it under 2 hours if we can.
Class. I mean, the last awards pod was 2.5 hours long, so if we can beat that,
we will. I think
that would be perfect. So, are we going with Matt Bevans?
Yep.
I feel like unsung Matt Bevans, underappreciated Simon Hallett. But yes, Tom Randall, you got a place in here. Where are we going? Signing of the season. Graham, why don't you take us away? You go first.
Well, speed it up. I think it's a straightforward case for Ronan Curtis, isn't it? Because, I mean, I know some will say Alex Mitchell, but he's a loan signing. I'm talking about a signing for which Derek Adams deserves immense credit. And I think we got him for an absolute song as well. And he transformed the second part of our season by, he didn't actually score. I think he only scored 2 goals, didn't he? But he was gave a number of assists, but it was the quality of the corner. Every time we had a corner, you thought we've got a chance of scoring here, and we've never been in that position before. I wouldn't go so much on these free kicks from outside the box, not least when it's the last kick of the game. But apart from that, I mean, and I love his cocky stance. I love the work rate. His defense. What you don't notice is his defensive capabilities when Joe Edwards is pushed up, and of course he's always on the end of the Connor Hazard out ball to the touchline, which he invariably wins. So it would be Ronan Curtis for me.
If it was jeering up the crowd of the year award, Ronan Curtis.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, he gets a minus point for the Alice band, but I think I'll forgive him that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some Palace fans on this pod this year, haven't we, Graham? Sam Down, signing of the season.
I'm also going to go for someone with a rather large head of hair, and I'm going to go for Lauren Talai, just for what he could actually bring to the club's trajectory over the next year or two by being sold. Because we signed him for 1.1 million or so, we're probably going to get triple or maybe quadruple that for him if we're lucky. And that
we've got to be looking for at least 5 million, surely.
Yeah.
Probably not up front. There'll be clauses and sell-ons, etc. But anyway, we're going to probably at least get our triple our money back, maybe quadruple, maybe even more if we're very, very lucky for Lauren Talai. Let's be honest, although for all the clubs talk about, we're not planning on losing anyone. I think it is almost certain he will be sold this summer to somebody.
Sam, don't you think that Tom Randall, obviously seeing him promoting him, living in Germany, might be putting his own name about somewhere else in Germany?
Well, maybe, quite possibly. Yeah, there could be interest from all kinds of places for him. But I think with Lauren Talai, I think what goes underappreciated in the kind of August to November dark days where we were just picking up the odd point, the odd win here or there, Lauren Talai was the man getting virtually all the goals. If he wasn't on as form he was, we would have not just been like a little bit adrift in December. We could have been completely cut adrift in December. And then we would be looking at how are we going to get the points over the line to even stay in League One. So we just got enough goals in the odd points we picked up in the first half of the season. Had a little bit of an injury checkered second half of the season, but was very, very good when he did play. Spoiler alert, next category, I would probably endorse him for player of the season as well. But for signing in the season, it's Lauren Talai, just for the value he can bring to this club. He can maybe help sort out the finances a little bit. If we get sold for 5 million, that's going to fill a lot of that black hole quite nicely, potentially.
Really, really quickly, Andy Price in the comments has mentioned Chris Ralph, I assume for Unsung. He actually won it our first.
That's a very fair point, because
I'm pretty sure he won it our first year though.
All right.
It was him, then Elliot Turner, and then last year was Kevin Nanscombe, and then this year is obviously Matt Bevins. But absolutely, completely agree. Incredible work yet again. I'm really surprised he hasn't been poached, to be honest. Seems like our best talents go elsewhere or get fired. I'm going to skip you, Adam. John.
I'm going to just put a quick word in for Joe Rawls, who is a player that I saw with my own eyes once.
Not unsung hero, signing of the season.
Yes, signing of the season. Peterborough away. And I think for me, the proof of the pudding for this one is sort of in the negative, which is that when I went away on my aforementioned trip to the Southern Hemisphere, we were terrible. And when I came back, we were quite good. And I think he was a huge, huge part to do with that. And just as Sam said that Talai's goals kept us up in that bleak period, well, Rawls chipped in with a very vital goal as well at home to Rotherham. And I think if we had not signed him, I don't necessarily think that poor run of form would have been arrested in the way that it was. And the whole
was
of
that
the
his
rest
only
of the
goal
season,
for us?
Yes.
Yeah.
The knock-on effect would have been dramatic. So I think for someone to play so few games, but to have such an enormous impact is highly impressive. And yeah, he would get a nod from me, although my personal vote goes to Ronan Curtis for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I know we won Talai and Pepple up top, like they were against Cardiff. But if we could have a consistent midfield of Herbie Kane, Joe Rawls, and Malachi Boateng, or somebody to do a lot of the legwork, that would be incredible. Adam, your signing of the season.
Again, this is one where I've been shocked by my memory of what I actually put, because I feel like saying Derek Adams signing the season doesn't necessarily fit the criteria, but I'm going to argue it anyway.
This is rubbish.
Because he's, I think, in terms of a move, shall we say, it's one where we all thought it was perhaps maybe just a little bit mad, and others thought it was a lot more mad than others. But I think it felt as though an act of a desperate club trying to make something happen, which it was at the time, to be fair. And now we've got to the end of the season in a situation of, wow, what a decision that was, and who could possibly have thought that was going to work, but it did. But it's not a signing, so I don't know why I said it.
Curtis, for me, I'm happy to shift my allegiance to go with Graham on this.
Given that I think we might be nominating to live for something else, I'll happily go Curtis on this.
For exactly the same reason, I will do the same.
No, there is no need to be upset, I believe, is the terminology. I'm happy with Vernon Curtis. Graham, you happy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. I mean, you nominated him, so I assume so. One that I've thrown in really quickly because we do Manager of the Year every year. Last year, it was obviously between Wayne Rooney, Joe Edwards, Kevin Danskeville, and Miran Muslic. This year, it's Goalkeeper of the Year. Conor Hazard or Luca Ashby-Hammond, really quickly.
Zach Baker.
Yeah.
There's the one remaining Conor Hazard fan, Conor Hazard.
Adam?
I wouldn't necessarily put myself in the Conor Hazard fan club, but I give it to him on account of not being Luke Ashby-Hammond.
Graham?
He didn't score an own goal.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would have gone with Luca purely for that finish, but sure. Conor Hazard wins Goalkeeper of the Year. Interesting to see whether he signs on. Again, no news, much like the Joe Edwards debacle. Right, Player of the Season, before we get on to the big stuff. Player of the Season. Graham, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Player of the Season, Malachi Boateng. I think Boateng. He didn't make many starts under Music, did he? I think probably only played 12 games or so when he was signed from Hearts.
Really like that Man City and like pretty much not else at all.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I was thinking the other day actually whether Malachi would regret signing for us for the chance of winning the Scottish Premiership, but that didn't happen either. So
I don't think he would be playing in that Hearts.
No, but he'd be a squad player, right? He would be
a squad player. But he started the season as, you know, who would have anticipated him playing all 46 league games? In fact, I think he started all but one game. I think he missed one of the EFL Trophy games. But so highly underrated at the beginning, but I think fans saw the strength. I mean, he probably ran more than anybody else in the team. He probably covered for more than anybody else in the team. He chipped in with 5 goals, I think. Got half the number of bookings that Soranola got, so I suppose that's a bonus. But no, a team player, and I think tellingly, Players Player of the Year.
I think that there are plenty of tweets. You're welcome to go and find them. Where I was crying out for Boateng to start over Darko JB last season, in the fact that Randall JB2 just wasn't working, and I just wanted to see Boateng. I feel like we had Boateng and Randall this year, that would have been far better. So I was expecting him to start a lot more this year.
I think the other thing you should mention, I did write it down because I couldn't remember them all. The midfield partners he's played with. It's Wiradou, Ibrahim, Watts, Rawls, Kane, McCabe, Patterson, and Roberts.
Oh, McCabe! I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, I forgot about him. But I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 different midfield partners in that season. So for that reason as well, I think he's Player of the Season.
Yeah, agree. I mean, you did change your Player of the Season.
I did.
So,
which is why spoiler alert, I'm going to be the same as Sam.
Sam, I'm really surprised because Owen Aseni and Lord McCabe are on the table and you didn't pick either of them.
I know. No, I'll be honest, Graham. My first choice is also the one that was your first choice, but I'm not going to advocate for him either because somebody else is. So I'm going to advocate for a man who, much like Boateng, was also getting a lot of stick first half of the season, but much like Boateng, turned it around magnificently, had a brilliant second half of the season. It is, of course, the meme to dream Bim Peppel. Obviously, first half of the season didn't go well for him at all. No getting away from that, as from pretty much everyone, bar Tolly and Mitchell. Really, but my goodness, since he came back into the team after his injury from Doncaster away, where he got the nice little assist for Amici for the 5th goal, to then 2 games later getting that equaliser at home to Wickham that definitely didn't go over the line. He was then absolutely fantastic. Beyond that, not just the goals, obviously the Lincoln goal we've already talked about, some lovely finishes. The Port Vale finish as well was also right into the corner, like the Lincoln one was, although not from as far out. The link-up play as well, he's only got 2 assists, and I think he's unlucky to only have 2 assists because he's made a lot of good passes into space that then could have resulted in goals, but didn't quite happen. How much better he's got, like you can clearly see he has. And again, I'm going a minor tangent. You can see how good we are at upskilling players. I've had it many times. I've already bored of me saying this. Picking the best team of your players' limitations is one thing. Being able to improve your players' limitations is quite another. And we've improved in Peppel through the coaching and through his own hard work and resilience so well. He is 10, 20 times better at using his body to compete for physical duels than what he was at the start of the season. His first touch is so much better than what it was at the start of the season. And I think if it was player of the second half of the season, it would be probably a neck and neck between him and Ronan Curtis. But it's not him, but he's my nomination.
Yeah, I was watching the goals compilation, all the goals of the season earlier. And they showed that one that he scored against Spurs in the Virtue Trophy, where he nearly missed a tap in from 1 yard. And yeah, it's just incredible how much, I would never have thought that player was capable of banging them in from 30 yards like he did. So yeah, I agree. Can I go next? Because I think Adam's going to say the one that will win, but I actually want to put this guy up as my actual choice, and I'm going to vote against the herd, although I think I'll be outvoted, which is to say Alex Mitchell. And I think this award is difficult because normally you want to choose someone who has had a mixture of impact but also consistency, and someone who has played a lot of games. I think again Curtis would be in the running for this, but don't really like someone who signed in January being sort of in the running for a player of the whole season. That being said, the first half of the season was terrible, and there are very few people who emerge with any credit from it. But I think one who really did was Alex Mitchell. And yeah, not without wishing to get too personal, someone who has gone through a similar family tragedy to the one he experienced, albeit a while ago now. I think his attitude during that period where he continued to show up, and not only show up, but to go out in interviews and say, I need to look at myself in the mirror because I'm not good enough at the moment. When he had all of that going on, playing for a club that did, was not his employer, in the most ultimate sense of the term, was astonishing. I think during that period he was actually very passable, to be honest. I mean, the whole team was very bad, but he was one of the better players in it. And after Christmas, he just absolutely epitomized everything that was good about the team. He was the heart and soul of it. Again, it's a lone player. You've seen lone players before play at a fraction of, what they're capable of, or certainly, give it their all, but not in a way where they sort of become the heart and soul of the club and the dressing room in the way he did. And again, it's not just a kind of charity award or vibes award. I thought his performances were outstanding. I mean, it was mocked in the chat, but I gave him 10 out of 10 for a few performances, which I very rarely do. I thought Leyton Orient away was one where he was unbelievable. There was another one, I can't remember which game it was, but, winning every single header in the air, is play on the ball. I mean, it's kind of a meme that he can't pass, but I thought that got a lot better. He was a threat from set pieces, got a few important goals, really lovely finish for the one at Reading, where he guided it into the corner.
Incredible finishes from long range as well, Joe.
Yeah. And by the way, that Blackpool goal, I think, has been slandered a bit. I mean, he was joking, but I think it's a good finish, actually. I think he's sort of grappling with the defender and guides it in. But anyway, no, I think the guy's contribution to the club, regardless of whether he comes back, has been phenomenal. I think he deserves the player of the season. He deserved the player of the season award he got from the fans in my book for a combination of attitude and quality and heart.
Yeah, and he's a great guy as well, as someone who briefly chatted to him and absolutely chewed his ear off when I was absolutely drunk as a skunk. So sorry, Alex, if you're watching this or been shown this. And
he hasn't forgotten, Sam, I can tell you.
Skunks and leopards from Sam.
Sorry, Alex.
He's in Ibiza at the moment.
Sorry, Alex, you've not forgotten. You didn't have a great game against Exeter, but it was one of your only bad games all season. So sorry.
Yeah.
You did tell him, didn't you?
Out.
I did drunkenly chew his ear off out in the Barbican when I was absolutely trolleyed.
But
I
you did
also
get recognised by coloured watch. So
I
there is
did
some
when I was daily
compensation.
watching as well. But I did also tell Alex Mitchell how brilliant he'd been throughout the season. Apart from that, and he did see me back a couple of hours later in Annabelle's and grab me by the shoulder and say hello again. So
Yeah, how bad was he that day? So. No, seriously.
Two bad games all season, and they were both against Exeter, unfortunately. But apart from against teams outside Devon, he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Mitchell's one of those for me who, like, I'm going to be honest, above like League One level, I wouldn't be investing in him as a player, but as a man, I don't care. He's one of those players that you just want around the club, right? Like he's your Sonny Bradley. He's your yeah, I just he's a great bloke and he's a great man to have in the squad, and he is absolutely my runner-up. Adam, do you want to take it away with who I think is top?
I will do, and I appreciate the Mitchell love him, but it will be outvoted because I'm also going to go with the guy.
As well, Adam, to confirm.
He is. The guy I'm about to mention, who's Lawrence Talai, who I think there's been an impression, if you like, that had it been player of the first half of the season, then Talai was well in contention, but then supposedly he didn't contribute quite as much in the second half of the season, which has led to some people wavering about him. And I don't know where this has come from, to be honest, because in his last 8 games,
it's come from the fact he was injured for quite a decent chunk of that improvement.
Yeah, the little injury didn't help, but in his last 8 games, he's got 10 goal contributions in that time. Like, he's still been such a key role in our team, even when it hasn't been a case of, oh, he's the only one who looks like he's going to be able to score, as it was for, I think, a period of 2 months, when nobody who wasn't called Laurent Talai scored a goal for Plymouth Argyle. And, he's consistently delivered whenever he's been fit throughout the whole season. He's been crucial in the first half to us not being cut adrift, and crucial in the second half, and particularly in the run-in to us getting so close to where we wanted to be. And he's gonna. We're probably not going to see him in an Argyle shirt again, but let's say I'll be surprised if we saw him in an Argyle shirt again. But I'd be pleasantly surprised for sure, because he's just had a phenomenal campaign. He's going to make us so much, either in terms of further memories by staying or financial value by going, which I imagine is far more likely than not. But yeah, he's whenever fit, which has been the vast majority of the season, he's delivered for us. His numbers tell their own story, and I think that there are contenders. I'm not going to pretend this is a runaway win in my mind, but I think he does top the rankings for me, and I think for at least the majority of the panel.
So much like Stockport at home, it's 4-1.
Yeah. I feel like Adam and Sam might be the best ones to correct me on this, but it feels very Argyle to give the player of the season to the person who tried the hardest, like a Malachi Boateng, rather than just the best player. Like, how many times were we just expecting Ryan Hardy to pick up player of the season? It was just given to a midfield workhorse. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but often we go, oh, we're not going to give it to our best player because he's on loan, or we're not going to give it to our best player because somebody else ran for him.
I get what you mean.
I think Mitchell was the best player, though. This is my take that you. I mean, he's not better. He's not a better technical player. Yeah, he's not a better technical player.
Talai are very, very close in it for me. I mean, Talai just edges it, but it just feels very Argyle to
I get what you're saying, and I don't think that's the best example, because I don't think there was any year that Hardy was hard done by not to win player of the season. Because I think ultimately, year before, it absolutely had to be Whittaker, no argument. The year we came 7th, it absolutely had to be Cooper. And then the year we won the league, he wasn't really the main striker that year. It was more Ennis as the main striker.
Who won it when we won the league?
Cooper.
Cooper
Won it for the second year in a row.
Not Azaz.
No, well, Azaz had that long injury in the middle of the season, didn't he? And it took him a while to get back.
He is our best player.
Yeah, but Anyway, we're not going to every single one, but I basically do think that Hardy was probably not hard done by not to win it as much as you maybe suggested with that comment. But
But I do know where you're coming from, because I think there was a time, and when I say a time, I mean 2018-19, where Ruben Ramirez was within 3% of the vote of missing out on Player of the Season to Jan Songo, which would have been a travesty of our time.
I think that surely the deciding point is when you see a player and you know he's better than the league that he's playing in, and so obviously so. And I can't think of another, with all due respect to the rest of the squad, there's nobody that comes close to where I think Lauren Tulai could go.
Can we have 5 minutes on how Conor Grant should have won the COVID season Player of the Season rather than Joe Edwards?
Conor Grant in that game against Wimbledon at Loftus Road was incredible.
But I was on a full tram with all the Wimbledon fans after the game, and they all said to the man, Tulai was the best player they'd seen all season by a long stretch.
Hasn't gone anywhere. But anyway, Lauren Tulai for me, John.
And me.
I'll stick with Mitchell, but I'm obviously going to be outvoted, and that's fine. I just think with Tulai, I want to be very clear. I'm not giving Mitchell a sympathy or try hard vote. I thought he was, in addition to those things, unbelievable most of the time. And Tulai had that spell out of the side. Sometimes felt a little bit to me like he was playing a bit more for himself than the team towards the end as well. That's just my personal view.
He did get 8 goals in 11 games.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant. No, obviously it's very close between, even in my estimation, he was head and shoulders in terms of technical ability. But I think Mitchell, for his position, obviously gets fewer plaudits, but he was a huge reason that we turned it around as well. So I'll stick with Mitchell, but it's well deserved for Tulai.
I can imagine Laura Tulai uses something slightly better than Head and Shoulders, but I understand where you're coming
from. I think the only argument against Tulai is he didn't, although he had fantastic contributions per minute after Christmas, is that he didn't have that many minutes after Christmas. That's the only argument you can make against him, and to me, I don't think that's enough of an argument to bring him down. So, with all respect to Mitchell, Mitchell is my runner-up, and I think he's probably Aaron's, Graham's, and Adam's runner-up as well. But it's or maybe Boateng from Matt from Graham, maybe. But it's Tulai. Tulai is the winner of the category.
You happy with that, Adam?
Yeah, certainly for winner, and I haven't considered runner-up nearly enough to make a comment. So, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. Superintendent saying in the comment, obviously, he's dead leg. He would score 30 goals if it wasn't for that. And he will next year for Birmingham City, I'm sure. Or Stoke. Let's be honest. He's going to Stoke, isn't he? That's great. Moving on to the best award of the season. How very self-indulgent. Oh, obviously, congratulations, Lauren Tulai. I believe he didn't win it. He didn't win Player of the Season for any other Argyle-based media outlet, so that's good.
No.
Aren't we different? Exactly. Aren't we unique? That's good. Podcast moment of the year. Graham, I'm going to be honest. I feel like yours isn't going to win, so I want you to go first.
You really do you? Well, I was brought into a world that I never thought existed with Sam. And I actually go back and check the date. 4th of December, 2025. Remember it, Sam?
I do, yes.
Yeah. And apparently, this is a guy, real name, Jax, spelt with an X. Jax Fades, posted on TikTok, him giving Sam Down a haircut. Well, now, I would have thought that was pretty unremarkable. But how many views did it get, Sam, in the end?
About 200,000.
200,000. I'm just thinking of 200,000 people around the world interested in Sam Down getting a haircut.
The problem with that, Graham, is 199,000 of those was Sam's own personal TikTok account.
Well, then they may have been. But not only that, you go and look at Jax Fade's Instagram, and it's got, I've got to read it, Plymouth's one and only Sam Down. On his Instagram. And how many likes did that get, Sam?
Thank God for that.
I can't actually tell you how many likes. I'm sure you can.
Then you get recognised and described as Pieface's right-hand man in the comments, which is fair, you would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, it's certainly. Well, that's how I've become known by people outside of Plymouth.
But then if you go on Kim Jong Un lookalikes, and I'm serious, you appear. You appear. And I'm not joking.
No, I know.
You're there. How on earth has this happened? And not only that,
they have a full time to recover themselves.
Not only that, if you search examples Kim Jong Un's haircut, your TikTok video comes out.
That is one of Graham is not wrong at all. That is one of the when a video comes up and there's like prompted search phrases. That is one of I have seen it.
It is unbelievable. But the worst of all, Sam, you actually look like him. It is incredible. From certain angles, to be fair.
I'm just imagining Kim Jong Un going into his hairdressers and going like this, please, mate.
I want to stand down. That's what he's been doing.
And the North Korean,
nuclear missiles, Lark. It's I want to stand down.
The North Korean hairdressers like Jax with an X. Really?
Yeah, exactly. I never knew it was spelled like that.
Well,
what was the deal, Sam?
I got a discount, and if you want to go down,
got a discount for a haircut like that.
Discount?
It's on Cornwall Street. He's an absolutely top bloke.
Really
no free advertising here.
Other hairdressers are available.
No, you go and have a look at his Instagram. Who else is on there with you? Do you know?
Chiang Kai-shek.
Pretty much half the Argyle squad, I believe, are on there.
Miron Muslich.
Yes, him as well.
Ryan Hardy.
In
Lawrence Alai.
One thing I'm not going to tell half the stories Jack tells me in the barbers because many of us will be sued for libel. But what I do feel comfortable telling is that Miron used to go in there every 3 days to get his beard topped up. He used to go in there every 3 days to make sure his beard wasn't
he looks like he had his beard trimmed every 3 days. He's a very
yeah, but not that grey bit at the end. He never did. To be fair, I was always fascinated by a little bit grey bit at the end. But anyway, how's Jax doing, Sam? Have you been back?
I was there the other day. You may see it.
Well, yeah.
Bloody hell!
It's just the brush down that's killing it a bit. To be fair.
Well, unfortunately, I am having a little bit of a kind of a hair island situation developing.
Not a Steve McLaren appearing, is it?
Steve McLaren hair island.
Oh my god!
I mean, bowling from the front back is not great.
What a way to end the season.
Bowling in the middle, you can kind of hide it a little bit, maybe. But yeah. Anyway, this has gone way off. So
I actually think this is the podcast moment of the season.
I didn't think Graham was going to win it.
The way it's been explained, I can't argue against it.
No, there's no point talking about it anymore, is there?
I want to give John and Adam and Aaron a little bit of time to recompose themselves. So I'm going to go in with my moment, which is winning bronze in the Football Content Awards for Best Club.
No, Sam, fuck that. Don't worry about it. It's your hair. Graham wins.
I think go over them.
Yeah, go on.
Ellen Road.
I thought I was muted. Sorry, Sam.
Okay. Yes. What a fantastic evening we had in Leeds at Ellen Road. We found out last year when we went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that the winners get notified in advance. So we went there, clearly having not been notified in advance, or so we thought, thinking that we hadn't won anything. It turns out a certain someone, Aaron, had in fact been notified, hadn't they?
Yeah, I hadn't actually been notified. I just asked if we were still coming. So, yeah. Carry on.
Was this before the infamous video?
This was about 10 days before the
well, it was close. I didn't know whether you'd done it to be on the award ceremony.
No, that was when I still had my sort of longish, messy hair. But no, anyway.
We went to Jack's.
The good old days then.
Yeah, we were given the bronze award degree, and not the winning award, but an award nonetheless for Best Club Content Creator. And we were delighted, surprised, chatted to so many great other people that night. We chatted to the Swindon Kit Man that night. We chatted to Cal the Dragon. We chatted to the United Strand, the guy with the big hair for Man United. Martin Tyler was there. Who else?
JJ Bull.
Sam, was the Swindon Kit Man dressed up?
No.
Did he have a fair and poxy pocket square?
Yes, very, very good. But yeah, we chatted with him. We chatted with great people on the football content circuit.
Her game too, Sam.
Her game too, absolutely. And we were delighted to walk away with an award, and then had a few drinks at Ellen Road after the official ceremony ended, and we had a Friday then in Leeds. We've kind of waiting around for the Port Vale game. Aaron had to work, and I think some of us were slightly hungover, weren't we, Adam? And then we went and played some adventure golf, and then Port Vale, which was a bit of a grim win, but a win nonetheless. Thank you so much again on that note to everyone who initially nominated us, and then indeed those who went on to vote for us. It does not go unappreciated, even when I'm shouting at some of you for your response to the next category, which is John, I think.
No, I think Adam's next, because I don't actually have Adam's written down.
Adam, go next.
I feel like John's
it's like, I mean, there was something written down for me, which I'm happy to run with again. But there's a couple, because I think there's an honourable mention, I should say, that needs to go out.
Aaron do the one that was written for you, and you just do. We've gone on long enough. What's another 20 minutes? Why don't you do the one you want to do, and Aaron can do the one that's written down?
That's a shame.
I don't know which one's written down.
I can save Aaron from himself. It's fine. My quick honourable mention is for the entirety of the Post Luton podcast, which I did list before, which had an excellent picture of John being frozen. It had Joe hosting and not being able to end the stream. It had the concept of Sam Downs' worm being judged by Craig Revel Horwood, and had I think StreamYard making its political allegiances clear by muting Sam unilaterally as soon as he mentioned Tony Blair. So that's got to be worth something. The one that's been put down is also relating to Sam Downs' haircut, which I think has already won in many ways, but it was a little bit different of a bet that Sam made before the Wigan game that he mentioned, that he would get his hair dyed, not sprayed, I should say dyed green, if we won that Wigan game, which we eventually did, and we eventually saw Sam have greenish hair, I think we'd suggest, for the Doncaster away game. The only thing that I think means this doesn't quite reach the levels of...
The person whose green hair I got on their coat has now popped up in the comments. Please comment and say hello.
I feel like the green hair was actually overshadowed by the whole drag situation, but sure.
This is what I was about to say, because this isn't the first time that Sam Down has made a bet or a forfeit if Argyle should win a game. There was the Sunderland where there was the drag option. There was what was it? It was a Portsmouth away, wasn't it? Where I think you threatened to get your bangarangas out or something like that. That's the one. If we won that game, and we actually did on that occasion, and you didn't get your bangarangas out, fortunately for the rest of us. But I think the fact that this is now the third time that Sam Down has put himself in forfeit alley, if we want to put it like that, means that this is
2 of the 3 and a very creditable draw in the other.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm not sure it can go for moment, considering it's happened before, but I suspect. And you know what? Part of me hopes it does happen again, and part of me doesn't, because it only seems to happen when we're on a dreadful run of form, and Sam is so confident that we're not going to play well, that he's willing to make these concessions.
It happens on a dreadful run of form, going into an away game that I don't give us a hope in hell of getting anything out of. Like Sunderland away, we drew and were probably genuinely the better team, despite the fact that they're now in the top half of the Premier League. Pompey away, which we did win, and Wickham away, which we did win. So hopefully, yeah.
So if you're going to make one for next season, hopefully we won't be in any of those runs of form, and perhaps it'll just be a case of if we get 10 away wins again, for example, you can think of something up for yourself. But the fact that we still had Sam Downs forfeits going on for another year deserves at least a mention.
I will hijack John. We're going to leave you to last, obviously. I feel like I completely forgot about this until we started recording nearly 2.25 hours ago. I genuinely thought this pod would be over and done with in an hour. So apologies to anybody having to listen this long. I feel like the TalkSport the TalkSport Cup needs a genuine mention. Sam and Adam, John and I were in the wings. The amount of times you went up and back to London, they didn't even pay for our travels. Cheers, guys. But
they did for the finals day only. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. But you didn't bloody win it, did you? So going up and back to London, being hosted by John, appreciate that. But yeah, competing on a national stage, showing off your autism to everyone, knowing random facts about the world of football that blow my mind. Incredible couple of days at News HQ. I don't bloody know what it's called. But yeah, like nearly winning the TalkSport Cup. Should have won it.
We'll not draw too much attention into the fact that it was Mr. Murdoch's pocket funding it. But TalkSport Studios, let's just say that.
They didn't give us any money. They paid you your train for Remember to like, comment, subscribe. We are part of the TalkSport Fan Network. Maybe not next season, but anyway. But yeah. Incredible from you two, and yeah, it's just mad. Some of the autism on display that day was incredible. Special mention to the blokes from Huddersfield. They were mad. I can't remember who won it, but I'm pretty sure you beat them.
Leicester, I think, won it.
Bolton beat Leicester in the final to outfact Sandown on a football.
Yeah, sorry, Leicester beat us to get to the final.
Yeah,
and Bolton beat Leicester in the final.
And we did indeed beat Huddersfield in the second round. So autisms again.
Absolute class from you two. I expect better showing from next year. But to be invited to
Aaron, you say next year, it was like 14 months ago, the first round. They are not repeating it. It did not get anywhere near the views on YouTube for them to do another TalkSport Cup
this year. Sorry, but to follow, my actual point was Sam Down being invited on to outfact Ali McCoist alongside Jeff Stelling. Class. That's mine. It doesn't win because what John is about to say wins. But 2.25 hours in, John. Let's wrap this up. Podcast moment of the year.
I think the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme music is playing.
I don't want to. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bring the mood down, but I've got quite a somber story to tell for the podcast moment of the year. So I was so I have to wind back to last summer, and I was out for a run with some friends of mine around a running track, and we were all wearing green tops for a charity thing. And this man approached and said, "Sorry to bother you. You're wearing green tops. It's kind of a coincidence because we told my child that if he ate his greens for an entire year, we would take him to Austria for a summer to go around. We've got this flag to commemorate this event. And would you mind posing for a picture with the flag?" And I looked at it. It was a bit weird. I thought it was a bit weird that this kid had a full beard and moustache. But, maybe, eating vegetables is a cause I can get on board with. And so, I looked at the language on the flag. Miron Muslic's green's got a picture over here, Austria tour. So, obviously, to celebrate, we thought it was all we could do was take a time out from our run. And
well, if Nick was here, he'd share his screen.
Have a picture with this. Have a picture with this kid's flag. And so I was very surprised when a few minutes later, a football club in Germany called FC Scout. I don't really like football, so I don't know. Posted a picture of this, and I have to say that some of the abuse that followed was extraordinary. And in fact, I was no, it's not funny. I was so upset that I had to get my friend Sam, who some of you will know, to respond individually to every single person who sent an unkind message. I was just in tears. I was in tears on the floor, for obviously viewers who don't know, everything that I've just said is called a joke, and we know that some people online who engage with our content apparently aren't very good at telling the joke. So what a joke is sort of a thing where it's a comedic setup where there's a payoff at the end that is amusing, but fair play to all of the people sat in their bedrooms in the middle of summer in England furiously tweeting about this because we're the losers for sure.
So I mean, to be fair, John, they could have been the idiot who had far too much to drink on far little sleep from an overnight flight and was in the beautiful Alps tweeting angrily back at them. So I think there's a lesson for me to learn there as well.
You talk about that run, John. What percentage would you give of like a chance of death?
5%.
I just want to read some of the quote tweets. So Schalke tweeted, Good to see some fans from Miron's old club cheering on the Royal Blues today. And I thought,
Can we not name and shame the people who have said these?
No, I'm going to name and shame because it's hilarious. For the record, I found this whole situation hilarious. Sandown did not. So let's start with at Element Miller said, hands down the worst thing I've seen in my 30 plus years supporting this club. You're over 30, grow up. Samwell said, bloody hell, but with an F. That's embarrassing. Extreme tin pot hours. I don't know what that means. Once a green, always a green. Effing virgins. Actually, I've got a baby on the way, so that makes one of us that isn't a virgin. I know this is silly season, but Risdale should have done us all a favour and wound us up when he could. Joke or not, this is utter woke nonsense. That was from Troy Hill. Love you, Troy. I'm lost for words. This is up where with letting Newcastle celebrate promotion on our pitch as our own relegation was confirmed. What are they playing at, said Tom. Epic fail is his at tag. Tom Kirk of the Pilgrims podcast said Thomas had never seen such a mess. Absolutely, these are hilarious, by the way. Rizaz quote quizzes said, one, Muslic was here for half a season, did well, but not long enough for this sort of loyalty. Two, left us in the dirt when we were fully expecting him to stay. Schalke is a good club, but wow, Schalke is a good club. They're fucking miles bigger than us. Three, Exeter City colours. I'm sorry, we didn't design the Austrian flag. Four, opportunity to go to Austria and see Argyle and go here instead. I mean, actually, we were hoping to see Miron Muslic play in Austria. They were just playing the day before. We didn't choose them over Argyle. Who would not go and see Schalke actually score some goals in, the opposition's net instead of kicking the ball into our own?
Although
it was 0-0
for a Miron Muslic game, it was 0-0.
It was 0-0, yeah.
I thought it was 1-1.
Panathinaikos.
No.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes, I remember. We only saw one goal that whole tournament. Chris Cooper said, "Embarrassing. It's like going to a jilted partner's birthday party. Why would you? Maybe you're not over your ex, Chris." Bloody hell. Ollie Pope, a new low even by our fan base's standards. This hashtag PAFC. They're the best ones. Absolutely class. Huge fan. We got on with all the Schalke fans. We had a great time. You spoke to.
I think you have to wonder
quickly.
The way that they've been getting abuse from their own fans, as it were. I say they because I wasn't on the trip. But you just wonder who got more abuse. From people who would be considered their own fans, Argyle Life on that trip, or Trent Alexander-Arnold after he left Liverpool over the summer.
Yeah, no, incredible. It's absolutely class. I loved every single second of that. I think my podcast moment of the year, actually, ignore the TalkSports Cup, was genuinely about three inches away from throttling Sam down. I genuinely could have put a pillow over his head whilst he slept. I was that close. Huge. It's without doubt podcast moment of the year. And I'm really sad that we can't go to Spain and boil some more.
Hang on, guys. Sorry, I've just got a push alert. Tom Cleverley has been announced as the new manager of Murcia. So if we go down to Alicante, then that's pretty close. So I think we should be able to hop over. And yeah, I've got the Spanish flag is actually Exeter's home and away colours from certain.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Can we redesign the Spanish flag, please? Make it green. Where could we go? We could go to Bulgaria, I suppose, but that's a bit red in there, isn't it?
My serious point is that I absolutely did not respond to that very well. I was sleep deprived and had a bit too much to drink, and I think by the next day after I had a sleep, I just committed to it too hard and I got too drawn into the.
I feel like it's a really good learning curve from you, Sam, because you don't reply to every single tweet since. Like over the weekend.
We won't get into much of it over the weekend. That has drawn a lot of attention from certain corners of the UK.
Mainly the same people that quoted us last time, to be honest.
No, largely very different. But I feel the difference is this week. My replies to tweets this weekend have been more gently mocking the people who mock me, much like you rather did in your incredible little monologue a minute ago.
Anyway,
gently mocking the people who mock me in the spirit of good faith, and to all those people who did have their name read out in that little monologue, I did not know that was going to be read in such a way, and secondly, it is in good spirits and good faith. And if you did vote for us and support us in the FCAs, we still very much appreciate your support, despite us.
They did
reading your name out there.
So cool.
I think that is podcast moment of the year. Graham comparing Sam to Kim Jong-un comes
Agree.
actually second. That is a huge late surge, but much like Plymouth Argyle, I think it misses out on to the team that was there all season, which is Austria.
So anybody who's like only listens to the podcast and doesn't look on Twitter was going to wonder what on earth we were talking about.
And Facebook. This was on Facebook as well.
It's really annoying because I thought I had the Miran Muslic flag with me. It's in my office, so
It turns out actually I do, and I've just hung it up over the Austrian Parliament.
Yeah, I really wish you took that to Eurovision. To be honest, that would have been hilarious. Next year when we get a Bulgarian manager, who knows?
There's still time to sort that out.
I believe that's everything. Unless anybody's got anything to add, I believe that's us for the season.
Thank you for sticking with us. Such a long podcast, and I want to get my.
It's only 2.5 hours, Sam. Come on.
It is now Monday where I am, to be fair.
Yeah.
I want to give a personal thank you to every single person who's listened,
you do it, Sam.
Reposted, engaged with us, voted for us, nominated us.
Took the piss out of us.
Took the proverbial out of us.
Every single person that quote tweeted the Schalke tweet, thank you very much.
Even if you did rip into us about the Schalke thing, and to be fair, I think genuinely not all of those comments you read out were actually about us. Some of it was actually about the reaction, one or two. Adam's on again. But thank you so very much for everybody who's supported us this season. We've loved doing it. I hope you've loved listening to it. And there's been some weird background noise coming from somebody's mic. So that's my final word. And I'll hand back to our esteemed host for any final remarks.
Annoyingly, Sam's taking it out the words out of my mouth. Thank you for everything this year. I believe that wraps us up for the season. Obviously, we'll come back if there's any major news, i.e., Joe Edwards not signing. If you could hurry up and
you want to say anything, Aaron, or are you maybe going to say it earlier next season?
We'll see, won't we?
Okay.
All depends, doesn't it? Could be positive, could be negative. I might see you next season. If not, thank you. As Sam has already said, thank you for everything this season. All the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, all the good stuff, as John would take the piss out of. Really appreciate it. It's been a blast. I think that's it. You basically just said everything for me, Sam.
Yep.
It's just really annoying that we can't go to Austria again and take the flag. See you next season, I suppose.
Well, we will surely do the odd thing here or there over summer if there's any big signings.
We won't. We don't. Probably.
Or any news.
If Mr. Netflix buy us and Joe Edwards signs a 5-year deal and we build the statue, we'll be back. But failing that,
Aaron, we definitely last season did a late June kind of breakdown of the last few weeks.
We might do a recap. But I feel like for May,
and we might do something for the World Cup potentially.
Yeah, that went really well last time. Got 5 whole viewers. We weren't
award winners then. We weren't Bronze Award winners then, were we?
Anyway, I've got to book my appointment at Jack's Fade. So
please, Graham, please. I would absolutely. I'll pay the half price haircut.
I'm not going on TikTok for anything.
No, love that. No. Okay, thank you. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you've been here for 2.5 hours, I feel like you may have clicked like in that time anyway. But really appreciate it. And if we don't see you before the start of next season,
have a great summer.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
And come on, England.
Come on, England.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.